What is up, everybody? Welcome to a Friday edition, a special edition of Granny's Peach Tea. It's been a whole 48 hours since our last episode, man. Wow, I hope we had an exciting night last night. I mean, I know on Pop Culture Bros there was a smorgasbord of entertainment last night. There really was. I mean, you had Millennium Meltdown with RD, which I ended up popping on. Me and Dave popped on. You had the Stream Wars show that actually kicked off tonight first with Nardo, Gia, and Dave. Dave is everywhere. Dave might pop up on this show for all I know. Who knows? Might be unannounced. Maybe he's the Mephisto of PCP, and he just like jumps in everywhere. But we're not promised him. We're never promised him. And then Jada and Kyle actually they ended the night by talking about American Psycho, which is one of my favorite movies.
Bro, I'm so upset I missed that. I wanted to jump on that show so bad. I love that movie, so I wish I would have been able to get on that. I missed it.
Yeah, and I'm sure Jason, we've talked about American Psycho thousands. You know how much I love the movie.
It's a great movie, and actually it's one of the few books, because I don't know if you guys read the book. It's one of the few books that disturbed me to the point where I literally read a section and went, I'm done for a while, and I put it down for like a week. Like that's how disturbing it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I've heard that. I have never read the book. As much as I love the movie, I never got around to the book. But Tim told me about a scene with a rat.
That was the scene.
That was the scene. Okay, I figured that was the scene.
The book goes like this. It's like 300 pages. You spend the first 100 pages with them going, my suit and my card, and look at this. And you're like, all right, where's the American Psycho part? Give me some killing. And then it's like, my suit, my card, I've killed a hooker. And you're like, okay. And then it's like, all freaking violence. And it's like, can you just tell me about your suit again, please? Yeah. Can I see your card?
Now you're begging for him to talk about the suit.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's great, and they did a phenomenal job with that. So kudos to everyone else. But tonight, kind of like Heath Ledger's Joker, we are tonight's entertainment.
We're it.
We are it. But so I got to check in with you guys. I know we were just talking about a little bit pre-show, but how are we handling our first non-WandaVision Friday? I mean, this is the first episode we've ever done where we will not be discussing WandaVision. Are we okay? I mean, I can see Tony's got his Agatha All Along shirt on, so we can kind of get an idea of how he's dealing with it.
I actually woke up sad this morning, just knowing that I was not going to be getting new WandaVision content. So I just got this shirt just this week, and I saved it for Friday because it was going to be my memorial to our weekly WandaVision watch, which never happened today because it's over, and it's tough, but I'm doing all right.
You're hanging in there.
Yeah,
you're staying strong. Okay.
Yeah, I am. Thanks.
That's good to hear.
Thank
Jason,
you.
Jason, how was your first non-WandaVision Friday?
It was hard. I'm going through withdrawal. After this, I might weep for a while and watch old episodes of Dick Van Dyke and Bewitched just to just to get the juices flowing, just to have a little reminder of WandaVision. But I am excited. I'm excited about the Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, so they dropped they dropped a clip. Disney Plus dropped a clip earlier, and I posted it on our Facebook group. And it was a great clip, and I don't know if you guys got a chance to see it, but it was from one of the previous trailers, where they were just discussing the big three, and they talk about sorcerers and aliens and what the heck was the other ones? Oh yeah, like robots and stuff.
Oh yeah.
It was something like that. And that whole discussion was back and forth. And we were talking about it before the show that we think that we get this feeling that if you're going to describe Falcon and Winter Soldier, it's going to be MCU's Lethal Weapon, but Falcon is Riggs. And Bucky is definitely Murtaugh, who's too old for this shit. that's got to be.
My arm is just 5 days from retirement.
Yeah, always on the verge of retirement. But I mean, it is definitely going to be that buddy cop kind of a feel to it. You can see just from the clips, it's going to be much different than what we've got from the past 9 weeks. So I'm excited about it. I really am, because it's got that Civil War Winter Soldier feel to it, which are just phenomenal movies. So I'm excited about it.
No, yeah, they're like absolutely tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. Oh, what is this? We are actually. What is this going here? We were not on Facebook. Failed to go to Facebook. What is this? Recently. Okay. All right. So I just found this out before we continue. Apparently, we're only going to be on YouTube and Instagram for this episode
Why aren't we
because
on
of
Facebook?
something. I don't know. There's some sort of error message that popped up here that's telling us. Yeah, I don't know, but the show must go on, right?
I think the hex is involved. The hex is keeping us off of Facebook.
Was
It's
it
Mephisto,
Agatha? Is she
Mephisto.
keeping us?
It's chaos magic.
It's that's a little bit. It's a little awkward.
It's chaos magic. It's good. It's all good.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna take 2 seconds to let the boss know about this. So before we continue, but so what did you guys do last night? By the way, in between shows, because yes, it's only been 48 hours since our last show. Did you guys do anything spectacular?
No. I watched Birds of Prey for actually the first time. I had seen just clips of different scenes, which I could tell you right now was a lot different than watching the actual movie. But we'll talk about that. But yeah, so I watched that for the first time last night, and then I tortured myself again with Justice League today. So it's been I've had a better 48 hours than than the last 48 hours. So yeah.
Okay. Not as exciting as Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte's 48 hours, but yours sounds much more painful.
No, and I meant to ask you, did you watch the? I know you were a fan. Did you watch the new Coming to America?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I watched it last Saturday. Yeah. Yeah, not to get into a full deep dive on.
No. I was just wondering your thoughts because I was a very big fan of the first one, and then I just was kind of turned off by the whole idea of this one, so I didn't watch it yet. So
the short version is I think it's okay. It's solid. It's nice to see the characters back. It's nice to see Eddie Murphy doing something good again because I'm a huge Eddie Murphy fan, honestly.
Right.
And he's frustrated me for a while because it seems like he just has really poor choices on the projects he selects. It's kind of hard to figure out what is going on with that. But it's not terrible. Some people have knocked it as being terrible. It's not as good as the first one, but the first one's an all-time classic. I mean, we talk about a lot of sequels on this show, right? I don't always go in with the expectation that the sequel is going to be better than the original because it rarely ever happens. It's a really special thing when you get that. So I kind of learned to temper my expectations when going into sequels for quite some time now.
I typically always just have the mindset that the sequel is going to suck, and then when it's good, then I'm pleasantly surprised. But and usually the sequel does. I mean, look, there are Empire Strikes Back, Winter Soldier for a perfect example. You always have that anticipation that the next one is going to be better than the one before, but it doesn't. It very rarely happens. So I just wanted to know what you thought. I knew you were a fan of the first one.
Yeah, no, I would. Jason, did you watch Coming to America?
I haven't watched the sequel yet.
Okay.
We had lost access to where it is on Amazon Prime. Yeah, and we just regained it, and Reg and I want to watch it together, so we're trying to coordinate when we can watch it together. But I'm not expecting it to be better. There's no way it's going to be better than the first one.
No, I just think it's unreasonable.
There's no way. This is like a fun, nostalgic romp of, hey, do you remember this movie? We're going to revisit what happened to these characters that you like. And Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall are still funny. And that's kind of all I'm expecting from it.
And they are. And honestly, they are. And like Leslie Jones is funny in it. And a lot of the new characters, they are funny in it. So that's what I'm saying. It's not. That's the thing. I don't know. I just think if I'm objectively looking at it, it just leans very heavily on the first one. Mm-hmm. If you didn't see the first one, you should never even consider watching this because you're going to be completely lost.
Right.
Yeah. So I can leave Coming to America on that. But I do. If you do love the first one, it sounds like both you guys do. I would recommend watching it. I would check it out because it is worth checking out. And you might feel the same way. You might be like, something. I got a couple of good laughs. I had a good time. I'm happy to be back with these characters again. And that's it. And I know you, Tony, you've seen he has like the same Mets jacket and get up he had in from the first one. He uses that at one point when he meets his son in Manhattan. So that's just a fun little gag to see that it's there.
Well, did you see that Francisco Lindor got to wear that jacket one day coming into
Yeah, that's
spring
right.
training?
Yeah,
That was
so I figured you
awesome.
knew
It
it,
was
yeah.
beautiful. And then he was also saying, "Good morning, my neighbors," which was perfect. It was
But did
very-
one of his teammates yell it back?
I don't know. They didn't have it on. It wasn't on ESPN. That's for sure.
That's what you needed. You needed somebody to yell that other line
Yes,
to
I know. It is
go
such.
with that.
It is such. Yes, fuck you too.
I could see Noah Syndergaard being that guy. To yell
Oh
that back
yes, Noah Syndergaard would definitely be that guy.
All right, so we're not going to be on Facebook for this broadcast. I'm working with Boss Men, and we'll get that taken care of. But for anyone joining us on YouTube, thanks for that. For Instagram, awesome. Thanks for joining us for the live show. If you are getting to us later on Facebook, thanks for checking us out. Or if you're doing the podcast version, whether it's on Spotify or if you're catching us on Apple on iTunes, you can check us out there. Wherever you listen to us, thanks for checking it out. So let's have some fun, man. Let's get into this. So we're covering 2 movies. There's no WandaVision, so we got no WandaVision. But our first movie up here, as we count down, this is it, guys. This is the last 2 parts of the countdown to Zack Snyder's Justice League. So this is it, man. This is pretty exciting. We got Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey. Yes, I used the new title that DC and Warner Brothers decided to go with. I think it is a wise move because it is Harley Quinn, then Birds of Prey. That is a way to sum up this movie. It's very much a Harley Quinn movie, and the Birds of Prey are just kind of hanging out a little bit.
Oh, they're doing some stuff. They're not just hanging out. They all get something accomplished.
But they are second fiddles, I think, clearly. I think you'd agree.
Of course. Look, if you make a Birds of Prey movie with that Harley Quinn, no one's seeing it. Almost no one saw this movie. And if you made this movie with that Harley Quinn, 3 people would have seen it. And I'm not even one of them.
That's true.
This guy over here would have been one of them over here. This guy,
yeah, because he knows if I saw Fan 4 Stick in the theater, then you got my money already.
You would have seen it.
But so this is an interesting movie to discuss because if you think back, though, this movie came out just a little over a year ago. This was the last theatrical release. Yeah, this was the last theatrical release. I saw this in the theater with my wife and with Tim, and we just on a whim decided we didn't call together the whole Avengers Justice League crew that we have that go to the theater together, because otherwise we would have started together with Jason. It was just very much like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, screw it. I'll check it out. I got nothing to do that night. So my expectations were clearly very low going into this. I thought the trailers looked like crap going into it. They looked very weird. It looked like some weird art house movie that the DCU was trying, which I can give them credit. I will give them credit. This is a very outside the box thinking attempt at a project, and it was a much, much smaller budget for that. Before we go deep diving into it, it was rated R.
Yes, which I really appreciated.
No shit.
All right, so that's the first, I think, point we could discuss with this is, do you guys really feel it was necessary to be rated R?
No.
Right?
Nope.
I mean, here's the thing. Is it ever necessary outside of Deadpool? I think Deadpool is the only exception here, because you cannot have a Deadpool movie that is not rated R. That is the nature of the comic book, right?
Yeah.
But is it ever necessary to have a comic book movie that is rated R outside of Deadpool? No, I don't think it's necessary, but I don't think that's a ding against it either. I think they're trying something new. I think a lot of critique that comic book movies get from people who are not like avid comic book fans like ourselves is that they're catered more toward children or young adults, and they don't really try to sort of get outside of that box. And so, this movie tried to do that. Whether it was successful or not, we'll discuss. But I don't, just because it necessarily didn't have to be R-rated, I don't think it's a ding against it that it tried something new.
I mean, I agree with you that, and it's funny that you brought up Deadpool, because that was going to be one of the things I discuss with this movie. But I think that this was DC's attempt at a Deadpool type film.
Yeah. And
that's the reason why they went over the top with the language and the violence that they went in with it. So it was really, in my opinion, it might have been something new for DC trying to, but it was basically their swing at making a Deadpool type of film that they thought would resonate with the Deadpool kind of fan, which is, these, younger kind of, like, hey, Ryan Reynolds, and they're cursing and they're this and they're that and whatever. And that's what I think that's what I got out of it, is that's what they tried to do. They tried to make their own Deadpool movie.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I think a lot of fans would agree with, Tony, is that this was, DC has used Harley Quinn in all mediums as essentially their answer to Deadpool. Like, she didn't start off like that because she was introduced on Batman the Animated Series. But in the comics and in, like, I don't know if any of you guys had a chance to check out her animated series that is on
Not
HBO
yet.
Max now. It started off on DC Universe. I saw some episodes. And I do want to watch the whole thing. We can decide down the line if we want to cover that when season 3 comes out. But it is crazy. It is very Deadpool-esque because it is told from Harley's point of view, which I feel Harley Quinn Birds of Prey is also told from Harley's point of view. Mm-hmm. So you got to understand, like, the unreliable narrator is in play here. So, and there's some wild and wacky stuff, which I don't mind, though. I don't want to sound like the R rating thing was a ding against it, because I didn't mean to sound like it was a ding. And to say that they have their own Deadpool, I don't think is a ding for me personally either. I think it is a wise thing to do. I think the language was the only reason I noticed it was R rated. But the violence, I don't feel like it was necessarily over the top. I actually think the fight scenes themselves were extremely well choreographed, because I know the fight coordinator and the director of John Wick were brought in to actually do this, to do the fight scenes for them. And I know Tony is, but I don't know, Jason, I'm not sure if you're a big John Wick guy, because I know me and Tony are all about it.
I love the first 2. I just haven't seen the third one yet.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Okay. So you get I think, did you guys also think that the fight scenes were very noticeably, you can kind of see a little John Wick, the way they were choreographed?
Yeah,
I got that feeling.
There was nothing hokey about it. There was nothing like you're watching this and you're like, this is ridiculous. No, there was none of that. Yeah, the fight scenes were fine. I had no problem with the fight scenes at all. I'll get into what my thoughts on the specific things with it, but it was definitely, I just from the first 5 minutes of the film, hearing her talk, hearing breaking the fourth wall and telling the story and so on and so forth, and it was definitely, it was blatantly obvious that they were trying to mimic Sony's swing at Deadpool. Not Sony, Fox's swing at Deadpool. Yeah, so it was blatant. So, and when you're trying to make a movie like that, in my opinion, when you're trying to make a movie like that, when you're trying to say, like, I like the way Fox did Deadpool. I like what they've done. They've given him free reign. He talks he narrates the story. He breaks the fourth wall. He's doing this. It's cursing. It's that. It's whatever the case may be. And if you watch that, and if you want to try to emulate a story like that and create a movie like that of your own, don't make it so obvious that you're exactly trying to follow the same format that of a movie like Deadpool. Because to me, I noticed it in the first 5 minutes, and then I'm like, okay, that's another Deadpool thing. All right, it's another Deadpool thing. Like, I kept noticing it as the film went on. So that's the problem I had with it. I don't have a problem with them trying to make a movie like that, especially with a character like Harley Quinn. But don't make it so obvious that you're trying to exactly follow the same format.
So I have to say that I agree with you to a point, but I also disagree with you. Like, I agree that they are. I mean, they're definitely taking the conventions of Deadpool of, we're gonna have it violent and cursing, we're gonna have a break the fourth wall, we're gonna have messing around with the narrative structure. But I do think what this movie does, I don't think this movie, outside of the convention that I just said, is a Deadpool ripoff. Like, I think this is if you look at just the story isn't just I'm ripping off Deadpool. It's they're using the conventions of Deadpool. So I want to give the movie a bit more credit, that I don't think it's just a carbon Deadpool copy. And I think at this point in the comic book movie, I think anytime at this point, if you have a R-rated character that breaks the fourth wall, we're automatically going to go, well, it's a Deadpool ripoff. And I just think in this movie, yes and no is like my opinion of it.
Well, what I meant by but you could see the actual thing is that in that original scene in Deadpool with him on the highway and the whole thing that happens and whatnot or whatever, and they get to that point and then they're like, oh, but in order to tell the actual story, we need to rewind, and they did that. They did the same exact thing in this movie. So it's not just so now you have the cursing, the violence, the narration, the breaking the fourth wall, and now you have the show the action and then rewind it back to show it, to give you the actual backstory. It's exactly the same formula. Like they didn't even try to hide it. It was exactly the same thing. So if it was just the violence or whatever, I could say, all right, it's like a Deadpool movie and that's it. But it was exactly like it. I couldn't get over that. I'm like, oh my God, it's right in front of you.
So I think this is, I see an interesting dynamic here going on right now, though. Is that, all right, so Jason, I know where you've been introduced to Harley Quinn. I know your background with Harley Quinn goes on for a while. So I think, Tony, is this your first, the DCU, is that your first, introduction to Harley Quinn? I know you're familiar with the character.
Yeah,
but,
no.
You haven't spent, a lot of time with the animated series with her and with, all the, and maybe some books and stuff like that.
Just some of the graphic novels that I've read, right? I had a smaller introduction to her, and then through Injustice, through the Batman video games, you get a little bit more of her and and her quote unquote personality. But the DCEU is really my first real dive into this character. Yes.
So that's why I think it's very interesting to see how you guys have taken to this right off the bat. Because I think you're coming from two different lenses completely, and that's great for this situation. This is perfect.
Well, that's the point of the show, right?
But I'm saying, but this is where we nailed it. It's not like all of us have seen the character from the same point, so we get to have different points of view with it. So, Jason, as the champion, I would say of this film, right? Because we'll say out of the three of us. We feel you rated it the highest out of the three of us.
Second on my list. It's second.
Okay.
I think,
go run with it. What are your why?
All right. Here's what I really like about this movie. And you know what? I'm not even going to argue the Deadpool thing because you're right, Tony. It does borrow a lot from Deadpool and maybe even too much. That might be even something I could say it could have pulled back from. But I think this movie is a lot of fun. Right? First off, it's a comic book movie and it knows it, right? And I always feel that this is what Suicide Squad should have been, right? You have a B-list enemy in Harley Quinn, which, yes, she's popular and everything, but Harley Quinn is not taking on the Justice League, right? She's a B-list enemy. You have a B-list enemy in Harley Quinn as your lead, and you have a lot of throwbacks, you got Montoya, who I believe started her life also in Batman the Animated Series, which, I'm a big fan of. So I loved seeing Rosie Perez be Montoya in this movie. You have Blackbird, who I'm not actually that familiar with outside of the CW verse. So, and that is Black Canary. I'm sorry, and that is I'm terrible with names. And that is not usually how she is in the CW verse. So I liked seeing the fresh take on that character, fresh for me anyway. Yeah. I thought that choosing the Black Mask as your villain for this B-list crew was perfect because the Black villain is upper tier B-list Batman villain. If I said name 10 Batman villains, you still wouldn't name Black Mask unless we were talking about it.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think the choices in the characters and to go, you know what, we're going to take these B-list characters that some people know and some people don't, and we're going to have a lot of fun with them. We're going to say this is a comic book movie. I mean, you have Harley Quinn Terminator a freaking police station with a sandbag gun and glitter. It's this is a comic book movie. And I really appreciated the fact that it was doing what I felt Suicide Squad should have done and wanted to do by just embracing the kind of ridiculousness of the comic book genre instead of something like Superman, which is very serious. And there's nothing wrong with Superman being very serious. Superman should be serious, so as should Batman. But I think there are titles that should be serious, and there are titles that should just be a fun romp. And I felt, for me, watching what they did here was a fun romp. And that's ultimately why I really enjoyed this movie.
Okay. All right. Tony, what strengths did you get out of Harley Quinn Birds of Prey? What did you feel were the good points?
Well, the scene in the police station is fantastic. Okay, that it really is. I mean, her walking in and then firing those sandbags off and the glitter and I mean that shit was hysterical, right? That was great. That I was hoping, because I had a problem with this up until that point. So after that, I'm like, all right, maybe this gets better. Like maybe this is like the jumping off point, right? Mm-hmm. And then they get into that warehouse. They get into the warehouse scene where the biker gang comes in with Uzis. Okay, yeah. Okay, but fine, whatever. Okay, don't know many biker gangs that have Uzis, but that's fine. Okay, so we went into that whole thing again. The fight scenes are well choreographed. She was very good in what she was doing. It was visually done pretty well. I absolutely loved Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor was fantastic. I thought that Victor Zsasz was very creepy. It was cast very well, because that's exactly, if you were going to put Victor Zsasz together, that's exactly who it would be. And we haven't really gotten a chance to see him yet. So I was I like that casting part. I mean, Margot Robbie is good as Harley Quinn. I liked her, in Suicide Squad. She was one of the only things I liked about that movie. And the scene where all of them are kicking ass at the end in the middle of the fun house, that was good. It was very good with the mallets and so on and so forth. The casting, I loved Ewan McGregor in it. I thought the girl who played Huntress was actually good. I liked her. I liked Victor Zsasz, and the other character that I liked, and probably the only other character in this movie that I liked, was Sal's egg sandwich. Okay, because I was really rooting for Sal's egg sandwich to make it out of that first scene after he made that for her. I was really hoping it was going to make it out of that. It didn't. So
that was sad.
It was very sad. I was very sad to see him go. Glad to see they were reunited at the end, that was a nice thing, which was great. But other than that, those are my positives.
All right. Yeah. So my positives to it are kind of the same. I mean, I think that the cast is pretty strong. Margot Robbie can play Harley Quinn in her sleep at this point. So I'm good with that. Black Canary was a different take on it than anything I've seen before. But I was looking up her name, Janae Smollett. So this is actually the first time I saw her, but I didn't recognize her. I ended up seeing her in Lovecraft Country on HBO this past fall. So she's one of the main characters in that. So she's an outstanding actress, and I think I actually liked her a little bit more this time around. We're revisiting it again, because I've seen the movie probably 3-4 times now, I think, at this point. So that was good. And you were talking about Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who was Huntress. And she's money in whatever, she goes into. And yeah, the scene stealer in this is Ewan McGregor as Black Mask. I mean, he's so over the top, but over the top in a good, insane way.
When he does that little jig, right? Like after he leaves the warehouse, and he does this weird moonwalk jig. It was so perfect.
He was fantastic. Every scene he was in, he stole the scene. He was fantastic.
Yeah, and I liked Victor Zsasz also. His name was Chris Messina, who played him. So I think there was I was kind of trying to pinpoint it, because I think prior to the movie coming out, there was a rumor going around that I don't think was necessarily portrayed on screen, but there was a rumor that Victor Zsasz and Black Mask have like a relationship in this movie.
I didn't see that in the text at all.
Yeah, I didn't get that. And this time around I was actually looking for it. I'm like, did I miss something with it? But I didn't get that. I think they were just eccentric, and it's pretty much it. So I mean, whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
She
I
even
didn't.
she
I didn't see
called it
that at
her.
all.
Yeah, she called even at the end. She said you just killed his BFF. So
Yeah,
I think that was really all that it was. I didn't get that.
yeah, and I just thought like Zaz, they were just eccentric. So I was like, I mean, whatever, not, it didn't matter. But I was like, I just didn't see that in the movie because I know that was a rumor going around beforehand, but it never came to pass.
No.
Um, Cassandra Cain, um, is, I mean, that's one character that Bear like really rips into when he talks about this movie. I can't say that I'm awfully familiar with Cassandra Cain and from the comics or anything, but he's like really talks about like they really dropped the ball on that one. Just like the way that they use the character essentially for a lot of toilet humor and stuff like that. That's kind of what she was there for. It was like just a waste in a way. Um, yeah, and Rosie Perez's Montoya, she's fine. I mean, I didn't wasn't I didn't care one way or the other for her. She was just kind of there. It was cool when she got to wear like the Harley Quinn like kind of when Harley lends her the suit, her typical suit at the end when they're in the booby trap, which I guess is her
Yeah.
in Joker's place. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. Like I said, the fight scenes were fantastic in it. That was a strong thing, and I do give a lot of credit for them trying something different and outside of the box with this.
Yeah, and if I can, because I did miss one or two things. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
But
no, go
because
ahead.
you brought up out of the box, a point that I made to you and Tony after the
Yeah,
show a couple days ago that I wanted to say here was, I think what's interesting about this movie is it is putting all the Deadpool stuff aside, it does give us something original in the sense that this is a chick flick as a superhero movie. And I
yeah,
mean that in the best possible way. This is like this is a woman breaking up from a relationship that she has tied her identity to and going out there, making her own new identity, making friends, and becoming her own person. And we've seen those tropes in a lot of chick flick movies, right? And
yeah.
I mean, I'm putting that in quotes, you know what I mean?
That's fine.
And I think we've never seen that I've never seen it in a comic book movie. And I
No.
appreciated that they had, whether it worked or not, I appreciated that they were trying to do something new. We always applaud Marvel for reinventing the superhero genre as they go. And I think it's unfair to sort of say, well, DCEU, nope, you don't get any credit for it. So that's why again, another reason I think this movie is, a lot better than I think most people believe it, think it is.
Yeah, no, and that's a very fair point. When you brought that up on our post-show discussion, you were 100% right, and I honestly never looked at it like that. And I think you're 100% right. Now, I agree with you. You got to give it credit where it's due. And DC tried something different with this low budget, like if you want to say like chick flick, like kind of revenge type thing, like Harley is dealing with her breakup from the Joker, and going on and doing her own thing and trying to prove herself as not being just a sidekick. That's there, and that's very much actually present in the Harley Quinn animated series. But they do it like really insanely over the top and like goofy and stuff in a really funny manner. But that's essentially what I've got for positives. So we're gonna go to the negative side. All right, we're gonna go to the negative zone now with this. So there's one thing right off the bat, by the way, that I need to bring up with this is the last time we saw Harley Quinn at the end of Suicide Squad, she was being broken out of prison. Okay? So when this movie opens, whatever, it seems like it's not that long after Suicide Squad, which, by the way, I want to say before I get into this part too much, the positives for this film, I want to give the subtle references to Suicide Squad and the DCEU. And it only happens 3 times. It's when they're at the police station and she walks out and you see the wanted poster for
Boomerang.
Captain Boomerang, and she's like briefly, "Oh, I know that guy." I thought that was hilarious and a great way to reference that they are in this universe. Yeah. She also meant the flashback scene where she's telling her story, and they show some clips literally of Suicide Squad, so that's a reference. And then when she's talking to Cassandra Cain, I think it's like in the supermarket scene, and they're talking about she's going to go buy her X-Lax, which again, Cassandra Cain just became a long list of toilet humor. She references it again. So I give them that it was subtle. It wasn't like beating you over the head with like having to set up anything down the line. But you are in continuity, okay? She's an escaped convict at this point who was broken out of prison by the Joker at the last time we saw her. Nobody mentions that once in this entire movie. She walks into a police station, and not one person's like, escaped convict Harley Quinn is here. There's no one looking for her. She's out in public. She's doing roller derby. She's doing everything. Like, there is absolutely no problem.
What about Batman?
Oh, that's my next point. That was my next point. That there's a lot of shit going on in this movie. And, it's almost like quoting Jack Nicholson's Joker. Where is the Batman?
Mm-hmm.
He's at home. Washing
his tights.
Was he that preoccupied?
Apparently he's on vacation. Yeah, apparently he's on vacation when they blew up the fucking chemical plant. I guess that he was he was on PTO that day, that he wasn't working. How the hell did they expect all of this shit to go on in Gotham and no Batman? Exactly. Nothing?
And that's the thing. We and to be fair, when you're gonna have a shared cinematic universe, just like in the comics, when you're going to have solo stories, not every hero from everywhere is going to show up at every moment. Otherwise, you never have solo stories, right? Like, you kind of have to, suspend belief. We were talking about Iron Man 3 before. Mm. That's a situation where you kind of think Captain America would be showing up for that to help out with that type of a thing. But you kind of, suspend belief and be like, all right, these guys can't just jump into every story, because every movie would be an Avengers movie, or every movie would be Justice League. But it's in Gotham, like Tony said. This is in his city. This is right in his backyard.
Yeah.
Where is he? And no one mentions him, though.
No.
Yes, I know at the very clip at the end, after the credits, there is a very, Harley jokes around saying, oh, I know who Batman is, And they mention Bruce Wayne for the thing on the collar. But there's never mentioned Black Mask. It's never he's scared of the Joker, but he's never where's the bat? That never comes up.
Nope.
Harley never mentions him either. So
nope.
My recollection, no one ever mentions him.
Nope.
Those are two huge continuity errors that I'm like, really? I mean, Jason, go ahead. You've got something to say about this.
I do. So I'm going to give you that they should have mentioned Batman, right? Yeah. Batman should have been mentioned. He shouldn't have been in this movie. I think putting him in this movie changes the movie completely. But there should have been some mention of it. You very easily could have said, Batman's fighting Steppenwolf. He has no time for this, right? Because, look, we've seen in the next movie we're going to talk about, Batman has bigger fish to fry sometimes than what's going on in Gotham. Mm-hmm. I think a mention of that would have fixed this issue. But I also think that the whole thing with the GCPD, in that scene where she shoots up the place, she comes in disguise, and it's not a very good disguise, but she also doesn't maintain it. And then no one's going, hey, isn't that Harley Quinn who escaped? Because she's shooting at them. She doesn't give them a chance. But I am going to say this. The beginning of the movie it establishes no one messes with Harley Quinn because they're afraid of the Joker.
Yes.
Who brought Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad? Was it the GCPD? It was not. It was Batman. Batman is not in this movie, therefore there is no one to bring Harley Quinn in. They do start going after her once she makes it clear. Yes. So I think talking about suspension of disbelief here, it's yes, okay, she did just escape. But here's the thing. Do we want a sequel to Suicide Squad with this? Because we all thought that movie was wrought with problems. This movie said, we're going to acknowledge Suicide Squad while doing something different and backing away because it was not something the fans really liked. And I think, because if this wasn't in continuity, I really feel a lot of people would be saying, well, what is this? It's a DCEU movie that doesn't acknowledge that she was in Suicide Squad, and you have a tightrope to walk there. Do you fall into the Suicide Squad thing and be hated, or do you kind of just gloss over some things and have problems? So, so I do think some of these issues are issues like the Batman thing, but I think also they do address to an extent why the cops aren't coming after her. And again, I think, do we want 20 minutes of her escaping Gotham and seeing what her life was like, or her escaping Arkham and her seeing her, I just think it jumps to the meat of the story, and it sort of tries to disperse with the Suicide Squad stuff as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So that's kind of my defense of that.
Oh, and that's a fair point. I just think there are two big things that you could have acknowledged and just been like, hey, listen, she's a wanted criminal, right? She's a escaped convict, but we ain't going after her. because of the Joker. Just something to just say that it was there. And same thing with Batman. I didn't want to see Batman in this movie. I did not saying that. I do agree that would have been totally unnecessary. But I just think, again, the acknowledgement of, man, no one's seen the Bat in a while. That's it. I agree with you. Just that line. Or and I wanted Black Mask to be the one to say it.
Right.
You know, I wanted him to
acknowledge Victor Zsasz or one of them. I wanted somebody to say, I was waiting for a Batman reference someplace because they're in the middle of his city and they're running rampant and nobody's doing anything and no one's noticing that Batman's not showing up. No one's concerned Batman's not around. I mean, that's just...
And when this happens, it is post-Justice League. So, I mean, is he that preoccupied? Like, he just hangs out with the Justice League now, and that's it. Like, they're working on other stuff.
He was shooting the Snyder cut, man. That's 4 hours coming up. They needed him on set.
That is actually very fair. Fine. I'll go with that. So, and then I just Montoya's conclusion of the breakup immediately after seeing Harley's necklace. So, Axis Chemicals explodes. Or no, sorry, it's Ace Chemicals. Not Axis Chemicals. This isn't Batman 89, my bad. And so she picks up the necklace and she's like, oh, that's it. Joker and Harley broke up. She just announced it to the world. I'm like, you really are some kind of detective. That you just picked that damn thing up and that was the first thing that you thought about? Really? I don't know. I kind of thought it was goofy, but you're right, Jason. If we're going to look at it and like embracing the insanity, then you can go with that. One of my notes was the escaped convict walks into a police station with silly ammo. I don't know why she didn't have real ammo, but whatever. I mean,
because like even with an R rating, like just on a realistic level, no one wants to put someone walking in and shooting up a bunch of cops and killing them in a movie.
Not like the Terminator.
Nope, no one is going to do that, or Rambo, or anything like that. No one's going to do that right now.
Not now. That was the.
Remember though, this movie was shot 2 years ago, though. So.
Still,
whatever it is, that's fine. No, I can forgive that, but I just thought it was something that was kind of.
I thought it was Harley Quinn-esque, with the bean bags and the glitter and everything. Like I thought it was appropriate. I did. So okay. I thought I didn't have that was one of the things I didn't have a problem with in this film, was that police station scene, because I thought it was really well done. And she wasn't going in there killing them. She was just knocking them out and, throwing them around the room and everything. I thought that part was well done.
Yeah, and I guess my last note here just is like, so there's a scene where Black Mask is talking to Harley, and he's like, yeah, this is my city, and all this stuff, like nothing, like he's running the show. But he's petrified of the Joker.
Yeah, which is nonsense.
So it's almost like in the next breath, he's petrified of the Joker. So I guess it's not your city. I guess you don't run everything, But whatever, if you want to look at it as his over-the-top false bravado, fine. Those were just I admit that was a little bit of a nitpick there. The ending, by the way, the ending fight with Harley and Black Mask, and just kind of like Cassandra Cain pulls the pin of the grenade, and just bang, and that's it. It's over. You're like, holy shit! Like, did that really just happen? That's how they got rid of Black Mask? That's incredible. I don't know if that's not a complaint. I'm just acknowledging that was all kind of holy shit moment. I expected something else. Yeah, something else there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Tony, what are your issues? That were different that you had with it.
All right. Well, probably the biggest issue that I have is that Harley Quinn she runs side by side with Joker, right? Mm-hmm. But in herself, even without him, she's just, they've reduced her to, nobody touched her. She pissed all these people off, and the only reason why nobody went after her was because she was with the Joker. That's fucking ridiculous. Okay, her and Joker killed Robin. Okay, they've been tormenting Batman for years. They have run roughshod over Gotham for all of these years, and he's the only reason that people fear her. Like, come on, to me that's a huge plot point. That's a problem. Okay, she's just as dangerous without him. Okay, he's a psychopath, but she's just as bad. Okay, and she showed that in this film. So why would every criminal in Gotham now all of a sudden be like, "Oh, she pissed me off. I'm gonna go try to kill her now"? Like that didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Okay, I thought that a lot of I felt like, and this goes back to the whole Deadpool thing. I felt like a lot of the cursing, right, was completely unnecessary. They just threw it in there to have as many curse words in there as possible. It was just like, the fucking shoes, it is that, or whatever. And I'm like, it's just, when Ryan Reynolds does it, it just kind of rolls off his tongue. He's just firing shit that comes into his head, coming right out. This was like forced. It was like, okay, it's been about 2.5 minutes. We need like 2 or 3 curse words in this next sequence. It was no reason for it whatsoever. None. Okay. I thought that they were stretches of the film where, again, they were just the acting was a little bit forced. The story was a little bit forced here and there, whatever. There were some really good parts of this film. Like I said, when you have a villain as great as Ewan McGregor was in this film, and as Victor Zsasz, if you have villains that are that good, you should have a really solid movie. And I feel like they just kind of fumbled that whole thing. Every time Ewan McGregor's on the screen, you were like, I want more of this guy. I want more of this guy. And like you said, you wanted to get to a crescendo where he's going to have some type of whatever it's going to be, whatever the fight between the two of them is going to be. Even if it's not physical, if it's just, the two of them, firing at each other or this or that or whatever, like you wanted to see something. The whole scene was less than 90 seconds. You get to this whole point where you have this great villain, and he's dead in 90 seconds. Like that's poorly done. Okay, the fact that they sent in these 100 of these guys looking for these girls, right? And only the guys with the weapons were the ones in the parking lot. Nobody had a gun in the place. Everybody just walked in and got their head smashed in by a mallet by these 4 girls. No gun. One girl's firing just like shit like that. You just can't ignore that. Like all these guys come in, nobody's got a gun. All the guys, but then they walk into the parking lot and those guys got guns. So you couldn't send 2 or 3 of them in with the other guys so that they all didn't get smashed. So am I nitpicking? I don't know. But I had major problems with things like that. When you had scenes where, like I said, a police station scene, the fight choreography of that scene when they're in the funhouse was all done really, really well. Yeah. But it's like these are just major glitches. Like you took a scene that was really good, right? And if you just said that nobody had guns there, okay, I could deal with that. No one had a gun. That's fine. But then they walk out and it's just start firing guns. Another problem that I had was, what was it? Did anybody hear that?
Yes, I did. I don't know what that is.
There might have been a motorcycle outside my house.
I was going to say, what the hell was that?
I thought it was like Zool or something.
Yeah,
Zool's actually on the bed watching. He's a really big fan. Yeah.
The other main problem I had with this is Rosie Perez. Okay, of all the people that could have gotten to play Detective Montoya, why in the world would you choose Rosie Perez, who I think the last movie she was in was White Man Can't Jump, and all I could think about during this entire movie was her on fucking Jeopardy, right? It's the only thing that I could think of. Every time she was in a scene, I just kept picturing her talking to Woody Harrelson and being on Jeopardy. Like, it's the only thing I could think of. I'm like, there's all the actresses in Hollywood, what in the world would make you choose Rosie Perez as Detective Montoya?
Well, sometimes when you win, you really lose. And sometimes when you lose, you really win. Sometimes when you win or lose, you actually tie.
God. I was just like, I couldn't, that part of it, I just, no good. Okay. The kid, I did not enjoy her performance at all. The pickpocket, what was her name? Cassandra Cain. Okay. Yeah. I felt like she brought, like you said, brought very little to the story. It was all about, she swallowed that diamond like I couldn't. I couldn't. So I had major problems with this film. There was something I didn't absolutely. It was not a Suicide Squad level of hatred for me, but I was this was not a good one in my opinion.
Okay. And Jason, what issues did you have with?
All right. So
with this one?
before I hit the issues, I got one more positive I want to give because
Okay.
I forgot to say it. Was I really do like, and I don't know if this is present in the Harley Quinn show, the cartoon, because I haven't watched it, but I like that this is one of the few times I've seen Harley Quinn actually talk psychology. Like this movie doesn't forget that this woman holds doctorates and was a doctor, and you get to see Harley Quinn say things like, well, I think you're just really projecting, and like as Harley Quinn give these psychological analysis. So I also thought that was a positive I wanted to note about the movie.
That is a great. That's
a very good
point. Yes.
I agree. And actually, that scene where she's tied to the chair and she's actually using psychology on him was that was very well done. I agree.
Yeah. So I wanted to mention that before I move to my negatives. A lot of my negatives come in the lack of development of character outside of Harley Quinn and Black Mask. I think Harley Quinn is very much there, and I think Black Mask is very much there. And it's funny because I think I like things about this movie that you guys dislike, and I dislike things you guys like. Like I didn't like Victor Zsasz at all. Okay. I thought the actor was cool. I liked him. I had no problem with the performance. That just isn't Victor Zsasz to me. Like, he was like a henchman. He didn't do anything to be Victor Zsasz to me outside of having like a couple of scars like hidden. And I think that's more character development. I think they had interesting characters, and then so him, the Cassandra Cain, I thought was a character that was underserved in this. Yeah. I thought, I like the woman who played Huntress, and I like the Huntress action scenes and the backstory. Yeah. But they pretty much made Huntress like the butt of a bunch of jokes, and I think the fact that she was awkward. I liked the thing that she was a bit awkward and she kept trying to push Huntress and they were pushing the crossbow killer, but they also didn't really do a lot of development in her now character, not what she did in the past, but she's action oriented and she's a bit awkward, and that's kind of all you get from her. I think there could have been more with her, and I think with Montoya, they set up the relationship with was that Ali Wong, and that kind of doesn't go anywhere. I think my biggest problem with this movie is just that they have interesting characters that they've chosen, and they develop some really well at the expense of developing others. And I think that's if I'm gonna really say something negative about the movie, that's where I think it lies.
Okay. So I'm actually passing off the link at the moment because Bear is looking for us. Oh. Bear cannot find us. So I'm sending him the YouTube link. He's demanding the link because damn it, I mean he's gonna be pissed that he missed this part of the show because he really would have gotten Frank Costanza in us. I'm like, listen, Harley Quinn, I got some problems with you. Now you're gonna hear about it.
And by the way, I want to say I don't actually disagree with any of the points you guys made about the references that should have been made. And I didn't even think about that, Tony, about sometimes they have guns, sometimes they don't. Those are all fair points. But again, for me, I was just having so much fun watching it with the action. And again, I'm a really big Harley Quinn fan. I think Eddie made that was a great point you made. If this was my second or third interaction with Harley Quinn, I probably wouldn't have liked this movie as much as I do. So I think that's also important for me to say is this is really, and also Montoya, I love all of the sort of B-list Batman stuff going on, with the Huntress and stuff. So I think this is just a movie like Suicide Squad that it just is I am its target audience. So yeah, so that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's why I was when we were talking about it, when we started our discussion about it, I just started to think. I'm like, Tony's been introduced to Harley at a different point. Jason, I know, at another point, and then my interactions with Quinn were from the animated series. and seen that. I'm not gonna act like I've read a thousand comics of hers, but I heard about, and I also yes, I did. I checked out some of the animated stuff prior to the movie coming out. Then when I started looking at the trailers as the release was getting closer, I'm like, oh, okay, so they're gonna go with her as the narrator. This is from her point of view. All right, I'm gonna give this movie a chance now because Tony knows how much I was down on this piece of shit. Like, sorry, that movie's not a piece of shit, but the trailers made it look like a piece of shit.
Your big thing was that what the hell does Harley Quinn and Birds of Prey have anything to do with each other?
Nothing.
Right. Which is that, and that's like, why are they in the same movie? And I'm like, because they can't introduce a movie with just the Birds of Prey because no one will go see it. So they have to attach somebody to something. They have to attach someone to it. So who better to attach to it than Harley Quinn?
Yeah, and that's fine. I personally I thought it would have been a smarter choice for them to just literally have a Harley Quinn solo movie. Build the story around.
And you
her.
could have did that with no problem.
Yeah,
you could have did that with no. You didn't need any of this. You didn't look, and I said it before. Huntress was great. I thought that I didn't mind Black Canary. Again, it was a little bit different take than what they had on Arrow, and I mean, I did not like her. I remember her. This is how sick I am. Okay, I remember her. She was a kid. She played a little girl on NYPD Blue 20 years ago.
It all goes back to NYPD.
It does though. But bro, she played a kid on that show, and I just recently watched it. And when I saw the name, I go, wasn't she in Birds of Prey? And I looked it up, and I said, holy shit, that's her.
That's insane that you caught that and remembered that.
Bro, it's
wonderful.
Yeah, well, yes. It's like I said, you could see the sickness. So, but when I saw it, I was like, I know exactly who it is, and sure enough, that was it. So, it's crazy. But the point of the matter is that for this movie, you could have made just a Harley Quinn movie, and it would have been spectacular. It really would have. You didn't need all of this other stuff. You could have you could have given me 2 hours of her against the Black Mask. Sign me up. I'm good with that. Right? That would have been good. But I just feel like all of this other stuff just got muddled along, and that's where we had problems with this.
Yeah, so we got our first comments of the night by Bear. Thank you, Bear, for joining us. I knew this was
nice.
This episode is right up his alley because we're doing all of DCU. But should have gone with Gotham City Sirens. And if I'm correct about this, I recall that there was rumors right after Suicide Squad there was going to be a Joker Harley Quinn movie. There was going to be a Gotham City Sirens movie, and then there was a Harley Quinn solo movie, and then somehow Gotham City Sirens got morphed into this, whatever this is that we got, and that's where Bear 100%. And I've it would have been Poison Ivy, and it would have been Harley, and it would have been pretty good. And Bear can jump in and mention the third character's name in the Sirens. Damn it, I'm trying to think of who. Oh, Catwoman. Sorry, it would have been Catwoman. You don't get Halle Berry for that. And then you would have went with Harley, and you would have went with
or Anne Hathaway,
maybe Anne Hathaway, which we can get into another time. I didn't kill her for that one, but
and it's funny that Bear brought up Gotham City Sirens because this episode did remind me the episode of the animated series where Harley Quinn leaves the Joker and teams up with Poison Ivy, and they go do crazy hijinks in Gotham. So, yes, I admit that would have been a much better movie. I would have much rather have seen Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn and Catwoman doing hijinks. Agreed.
Yeah, and Black Mask, Bear's chiming in, Black Mask is a huge Catwoman adversary as well. And again, that's what would have tied it in, and it would have been, a really, really, you had a much better situation right there. So, whichever. By the way, another tidbit of information here from Bear is that she's Michelle Tanner's bestie. By the way, speaking of the same actress that was NYPD Blue and everything, Tony, that you were talking about. So apparently she's been over some pretty big TV shows there. So.
Wait a minute, is she Mephisto?
She might have been Mephisto.
I think.
All
I
right,
think
so then
actually, since we finished WandaVision, I think everyone's Mephisto now. Just saying.
everyone could be Mephisto. I mean, Rick could be Mephisto for all we know, and that would not surprise me though.
So Rick is Nightmare because Mephisto's too mainstream for Rick.
That's actually a really good point. All right, so then let's move on to our actual final DCEU film before as our countdown before we get to Zack Snyder's Justice League, and that is Justice League, aka Justice League. Whew. All right, this is going to be something here. So Jason and I were talking about this before we went live, and he was asking like why the hatred, why the absolute hatred for Justice League. Now, to set the table for this whole thing. Oh, what is this? I'm sorry, Bear's jumping in one more time. I've always been begging for. Oh wow. So we got Justice League, and I think you got to set the table for this because I think it's just a very disappointing film in what we got. We were again, and I really do hate using the analogy of the MCU and the DCU, but I think we could all agree that this should have been the DC's Avengers. That's what it needed to be, just in the sense that iconic characters are all coming together and forming an iconic team. That's really it. And it should have been that big a deal, and it should have just exploded everywhere. And that's what we were all hoping for. To get into the thing, to lay out the facts that we know of this film, of what happens. I mean, Warner Brothers suits got heavily involved in the production of this movie, just like they did. It started with Batman versus Superman. And then it started with, by chopping that down a half an hour and so on and so forth. Then a reactionary thing to that. And they butchered Suicide Squad. And then they kind of left Wonder Woman alone for the most part. And that's why we got a nice finished product. But then Justice League comes along. And they go ahead and then Zack Snyder's, I believe it was his daughter, had committed suicide during the production of it. And he had to, unfortunately, leave the film. And I know his quotes recently, he's been talking about it a lot now. And he's saying that he just didn't have the energy after that happened to push back against the suits from wanting to make changes and everything like that because they were losing confidence in his vision for the film. And he was like, something, I'm gonna walk away. You guys do what you got to do with it, and that's it. And then they bring in Joss Whedon,
they had actually brought him on as an assistant director just to kind of help out anyway, right?
Yeah, I believe that may have been the case. That may have been the case for that. And now looking at that, right? Like Tony, we talked about it at the time when this happened. So we're thinking, all right, if Zack has to walk away, if you're going to bring in somebody to do this, maybe you bring in Joss Whedon if you have to have somebody because he did crush it with the Avengers. He did crush it with Avengers Age of Ultron. So he knows how to handle an entire ensemble of superheroes. And that was pretty much what we based it on.
Right.
And boy, were we wrong.
Yes, we were.
Because we were extremely wrong.
Yes, we were.
And I guess from the basis of it is just that their filmmaking styles are so different. Like you have Zack Snyder and then you have Joss Whedon. The way characters are written, the way that they direct their films, it's just night and day. It's too much of it. You had to get somebody that could have seen Zack's vision for the film, and it could have like directed it and just and took it home for him. And we just didn't get that. Like Tony and I saw this like on a preview and we were super excited. Tony got the passes. We were like, just like kids on Christmas. We get to see Justice League. We're gonna see it. And we went in beyond excited. And I think our excitement, Tony, carried us through the first time we saw this.
We overlooked. I think we overlooked
yeah,
a lot.
We were going to be very forgiving.
We glossed over a lot.
Yeah, we glossed over a lot. And I think it's fair because I think we could all agree when we're a little hyped up for films and stuff like that and very excited. Sometimes the first time, for me at least, it usually goes super positive, maybe over the top, or super negative over, and maybe the opposite direction. and we were able to go ahead and overlook a lot of the filmmaking flaws. You know what I mean? For just seeing eye candy, and we did, and that's where I think Justice League starts to fall apart. Upon its rewatchability is in the toilet, like because then you start really looking at things and you start dissecting things, and I think we all do that naturally as we watch films again. And that's where it just really begins to just the glue becomes undone, and you can't, you can't put it back together at that point. And a movie is like a Frankenstein's monster movie. Like you can see where Josh Whedon's rewrites were specifically. Besides the fact that his scenes, the rewrite scenes, are always unfinished, right? They look like the CGI, the green screen was never finished in the background. And by the way, we also found out why eventually, because there was the head of Warner Brothers at that time who gave Josh Whedon X amount of time to finish the film. And he's like, we're not moving the release date. And apparently Whedon told him, we should move the release date. We're not going to finish it on time. He's like, no, it needs to get out. We need to get our year-end bonuses. And that's that. And that was widely reported.
Yep.
So things start to find out, things start to become very clear as to exactly why this crap is happening. So it happened, and you can see it. You can see the biggest problem. Whenever Superman's in a rewrite scene, you know what we get. Yeah. And damn it, I meant to do it. I was going to use a screen share, which I still might get, and bring that up here, because I kind of wanted to have him on the side the entire time as a fourth person here. It's creepy, man. It is, and you get it right from the get-go. The opening scene with the kids with the camera phone, and he smiles, and he has this, and you can see the upper lip is gone. And for those of you who are not aware, that the reshoots that Whedon had to do, Cavill was already off shooting Mission Impossible Fallout at that point, and he had a big old mustache.
The $1 million mustache.
The $1 million mustache. There it is. Whoa! Stop it! Don't do it! Don't do it! I'm gonna have nightmares, dude. I already had to see it for 2 hours earlier.
I'm not even kidding. That's terrifying to see a still of.
No, make it go. No, I don't know if I can continue if I keep looking at this. This is disturbing, man. I don't know how much of fake Henry Cavill upper lip I can handle for one day.
It's terrifying.
That right there. Yes, there's the other scene where it is. Those are the two scenes where it really sticks out. Those are the two scenes, man, and that is something, man. And it is creepy, and it's just very unnatural and unnerving, honestly. So that was the story. So pretty much Cavill's doing his reshoots. He's got his mustache, and then they're like, listen, we need you to come back. And it was this whole back and forth, and they stopped the production of Mission Impossible Fallout so he can go do his scenes. And they pretty much told him, hey, dude, just shoot them. You don't have to shave the mustache, because he refused to, because he needed to go back and shoot the other movie. And they were just like, we'll just CGI it out, and that's it. And boy, did they ever. It is bad. It is bad. And I think that sets the... Oh, why do we have to make it keep coming back? Stop making it come back. If you're listening on the audio version, Tony keeps on pulling pictures from Google of the Superman upper lip that we can never
Wait,
unsee.
this was one of my favorites.
Oh,
look at that.
They didn't even get his teeth right. It's disturbing.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is rough. So
disturbing.
Well, I remember because it's in the first 10 seconds of the movie.
Yes.
And I remember you leaning over and saying, "What the fuck, bro?" You were like, "What the fuck is that?" And I'm like, "All right, it's got to be just the scene. It's got to be just the scene. This is it." And oh my god, man! Oh my god!
And Jason has sat next to me in many movies. He knows I don't say a word. I couldn't help it.
Yeah, but you literally just were like, "What the fuck is that?"
It's disturbing.
That's
it was
brutal,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Bear's right. That should be a Halloween mask.
Be.
I would totally buy it.
You know what? You'd probably make $1 million if you made that mask.
Yeah, we should get on that, or just like get someone with a mustache and just like put a I don't know, whatever, some sort of like other rubber upper lip on top of it from another mask. Yeah, exactly. Just do that with it. I would have been
Do
better
you
with.
bleed?
Well, yeah, we're gonna get to that. We'll get to
Yeah.
that. All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that really sets the tone. That opening scene with the kids with the camera phone and the friggin' upper lip that is the most infamous upper lip in the history of like any film ever made. It's pretty brutal, man.
And the funny part about that and about that scene, right, is that it is absolutely 1000% completely unnecessary.
Oh yeah, no, it didn't
yeah.
need to be there at all.
It looks so bad. Why didn't they just cut it out? It had nothing to do with the story.
Yeah,
Like, just cut it out. It looked terrible.
Like the thing they were going for, I kind of got with it. And again, I've seen the movie like quite a bit because I admittedly did watch it a lot of times when it came on HBO. I was like, all right, it's on, whatever. I'll just watch it.
I went to the theater to see it 3 times.
It pisses me off though. It started getting me mad, and I had to stop watching it because it was really upsetting me.
I know you told me that.
Yeah, I was like, no, that's enough.
I'll never forget the day you came in. It was like the 3rd time you watched it, and you're like, bro, I am really starting to get aggravated when I watch this movie now. It was like a week after it came out. He goes, I'm so pissed off. I'm like, bro, we just came out. I'm like, wait till it comes on video, give it some time. You're like, no, bro, I don't think so. I'm really mad. I'm really mad.
Because it's frustrating, because I was really excited for this, honestly. I was genuinely excited for Justice League, and I was like, maybe this will be the film that knocks it out of the park, and it ends the divisive nature of how fans see the DCU. And as I'm saying these words right now, I feel like I've been saying these same words about Zack Snyder's Justice League coming up. So I better not have just put that out in the universe now. Because I'm going to be, man, will I be coming in this next episode furious. But I think that's one of the things that's bad. So, I mean, do you guys want to go over pros and cons, or should we just really attack the rewrites? Because I think we know what the rewrites are.
Look, this is. I'll just say this. Okay, at first watch, and Ed'll tell you we were there. Okay. I wish I would have shared your optimism there, Bear. I really do. I really wish I could share that was the case.
Bear is captain. He is Captain DC, and he will be. Yes, he will find the silver lining in anything DC. And he has some serious problems with this film.
Yes, as he should. Yes. But I'll the first night we went to see it, and I'm like, it's not bad. It was pretty good. Like it was this, it was that. Like, all right, yeah, the CGI was bad, and then you start talking about it, and you're like, I didn't really understand this, and why did they do that? And and that was unnecessary. Like, you just start to kind of pick through and whatever. So I saw it with Ed on Wednesday. At an early screening on 42nd Street in the city, and then as I usually do, I had opening night tickets, so I went the next night with my group of guys that I go with.
And that's why I started with Jason.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I saw it the second night on Thursday, and then I took my son to see it. I think that weekend. I think I took him either Saturday or Sunday. So I saw it 3 times in the first week. By the 3rd time I saw it, I was like, There's problems here. There's problems here. Like you saw it the first time, you're like, yeah, it was good. Second time, I got a problem with this, that, other thing. But the 3rd time, I'm like, all right, I got issues here. And you start picking out different things or whatever. But the thing that really ruined this film for me, right, was when the rumors started coming out of what Zack Snyder's story was supposed to be, and then what we got, and when you started to hear some of the things that Zack wanted to put in the film and that weren't in the film or were changed, that's when you start to get aggravated, because you're like, well, that's the movie I wanted to see. Why did I get this pile of shit? Why didn't I get that, which is what everybody wanted, which would have been a much better, more cohesive movie. So to me, that's where this kind of fell completely off the map. And then now that all those rumors are true, and that version of the film did exist, and we're actually going to get it in less than a week, now, you're going to look at that original film, and you're going to be like, it's going to be like the theatrical version of Batman vs. Superman, where it's just never going to exist again. No one is ever going to go back to it, because everyone is going to want to watch this version, which I have full faith that it's going to be infinitely better than the pile of shit that we got. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Yes, I appreciate that very, very much. And I'm not patting myself on the back here because I'm more psychotic than anything else. But thank you for the compliment.
Yeah.
So
But-
no, with the DC continuity issues, which I think we'll talk about some of them very soon. We don't really rely on too much continuity with Granny's Peach Tea. You can jump in any episode and watch this. But if you did see our last episode, or 2 episodes ago, I think it was episode 7, Tim stole the show with a certain comment, and he's doing it again. Invisible Mustache, new hit single by White Vision off the album Chaos Magic.
That was episode 8, by the way, because it was White Vision. That was actually 48 hours ago that he.
Yeah, that was.
Oh
awesome.
my god, bro! Oh my god!
Hysterical.
Tim is a killer with this, man.
That was hilarious. That was
he
hilarious,
might
bro.
Don't be shocked if he pops up on one of our shows with a T-shirt of like a band called White Vision or
White
something
Vision.
like that.
Bro, if he's selling that shit, I'll buy one of those in a heartbeat.
So can Invisible Mustache go to the like rhythm of like Invisible Touch by Phil Collins? I mean, maybe we can put together a song. Grogan, did you ever see this?
I don't know.
You
Hold
guys
on, we're
can get
gonna
it going.
hold on. I gotta see if I can find that one. Okay, keep talking.
So Jason, go ahead.
I just want to say before we get into the problems with this movie and get into the dissecting the different scenes, as I am someone who likes this movie a bit more than you guys, and I'm not saying I love this movie. It's no the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn in my book. But I do want to just sort of talk about some of the highlights that I found in this movie enjoyable before we get into a real bash fest, because I think that's where we're going here. So I think things that I think are notably good about this movie.
Well, this is happening. Wow.
Because now I'm trying to write Invisible Mustache in my head.
I've been waiting for Justice League to come out. And Henry Cavill couldn't do his
Repeating Mission Impossible. And save his.
Oh, I want that. Jason can definitely sing on this album. Whatever we do.
Oh, man.
Oh, okay. There you go.
That's hysterical. Invisible Mustache.
Wow.
Okay.
Yes. So we're going to put that on Tim and Grogan to get together one day and write Invisible Mustache. Jason, you can get in with writing the song, and maybe we can get this going. It could be a special Granny's Peach Tea single for Invisible Mustache.
I will be at the first White Vision show. I'll tell you that right now. I'll be there, front row. I'll be there.
Oh, man.
Oh my god.
Perfect.
Oh, Lord. I think that's actually Karachi. He doesn't even know what he's walking to. He'll see it eventually when he rewinds it. Imagine jumping in at that point.
We were just having a disco party, boss. Nothing going on here.
Oh my god.
It's like, well, what are these assholes doing? Like listening to Invisible Touch?
It's
the boss is here. Back to the movie.
It's a Phil Collins show now.
Oh boy.
Oh my god.
So what I really
sorry,
like
Jason,
about
go
Phil Collins. No.
Yes.
All right. So positives I want to mention about this movie is I think it's a backdoor Batman movie for the first half of it, and I really appreciate that. Like Batman is the one. There you go. Batman is the one who has the character arc of being a guy who hates working with people and is forced to put a team together that he does not trust up until the end. And I kind of think that is something I really think was commendable that they gave Batman that story arc, that character arc. I enjoyed Batman putting the band together. You know, like I'm gonna go see Flash. I'm gonna go see Aquaman. Like I enjoyed watching them interact like that. I actually did like Cyborg, and I love the guy who plays Cyborg's dad, Miles Dyson. We talked about Terminator 2 before.
That was on my list of awesome Easter eggs. The fact that he is that Miles Dyson is there,
Yeah.
building a robot and everything out of his son. Like, I thought that was great. Whether it was intentional or not, I don't care. It's
It doesn't
intentional for
matter.
me.
It worked perfectly. I like that the mother boxes gave Cyborg a reason to be in this movie. And this movie very much was like Cyborg's discovery of himself. I'm not saying all of this works, but I'm saying like I appreciate that some of these seeds were laid. And what else did I have to? And I really did like seeing them all together. And I did like some of the humor. I don't think all of the humor works. I think you need, and they will cut all of it, I'm sure, because Zack Snyder did not do any of those humorous bits. But I do want to say that the humorous bit that I feel worked very well for me was Aquaman sitting on the lasso of truth and tell, well, we're all gonna die. I mean, it doesn't. And I thought that was funny, and I one of the things that I miss in Zack Snyder's DCEU movies is fun and humor, I mean, and this is what I said this on the shows that we had done. Like, I think it's so serious to the point of like, oh, can I crack a smile, Zach? Am I allowed to? And I'm not saying the humor in this worked at all, but I do think that introduction of humor to this movie did make it a bit more enjoyable for me. So those are my positives, and I think those are all my positives.
All right, so we have a special guest that popped in. He's backstage right now, and he's going to jump in at a positive time, because I was going to say we might want to like talk about, maybe we should go through the Justice League as focusing on each character, and then maybe we dissect it like that. We'll do it a little bit differently, because we know the story is crap. But if you are familiar, we do. I mean, no one's going to defend the story here.
No, it's a terrible story.
If you're familiar with Pop Culture Pros, we have our. I almost feel like Tony Stark saying we have a Hulk. And we do. He is our Swiss Army knife. He is the co-host of the Just Too Sweet show. He is also my co-host on the Empire 161 show. He is going to be making his Granny's Peach Tea reboot debut, because he was part of the original Granny's Peach Tea when we were just audio only. Mr. Tim Tabala.
Hey!
Damn.
Yo, what's going on, guys?
What's up, buddy?
Just chilling, man. Just chilling this wonderful Friday evening.
Tim, are you going to be the lead singer of White Vision?
Let's just. I'm the band manager. I'm the band.
Oh, you're the manager.
T-shirts are coming soon.
Oh, bro, sign me up, bro. Sign me up. I'm ready for that. I'll wear that shit right on the show. I don't care.
I'm thinking White Vision on the back. We're gonna put tour dates. It's just gonna say what was it? Grandview, Jersey. That's it.
Westview, New Jersey. Nice.
Westview. Every date's gonna be Westview, New Jersey. That's it.
No. You can put Westview. You can put Sokovia. You can put like Wakanda. All the places Vision popped up on as the tour dates.
Where it's Glasgow, Scotland. It'll be perfect.
That's it. That's all you really need.
Oh, it's great.
Now, how did you feel about what you just inadvertently started with the invisible touch turning into invisible mustache?
I like it. I like it a lot. You know, we have to recruit Grogan to write an actual song, though.
That's what I was saying. I think you and Grogan could probably, and Jason
will sing it. That's it. You just write it. Jason will sing it. That's it.
We're gonna have invisible mustache.
The other night, he was writing a song about Carrie Von Erich called "Texas Jesus." He did it live, right on the air. So I don't see why he can't write a song about this here. About this.
So, Tim, what did you? I mean, you're jumping in. We're talking about our positives for Justice League. What are your overall thoughts of Justice League?
Is Bear still watching? Because he's going to jump on my shit.
Oh, right Bear's definitely watching.
we all know I am not a fan of the. I'm not going to say DC. I'm going to say Warner Brothers. I am not a fan of Warner Brothers and how they destroyed this universe. But yeah, Justice League basically it was a corn fest. Really, it really. No. Like I didn't see it with you. I thought I saw it with you. Who the hell did I see it with?
You may have. No. I think you may have seen it because me and Tony saw it on the preview night, the Wednesday, and I went with Jason and the usual crew.
I think we saw it together.
Yeah, I think that's when we did like everybody together at the Midway.
That I was.
I don't want to believe.
I don't think I was there for that though.
Really?
I think I saw it with Jax. I think I took him like on a Saturday morning. Anyway, yeah, I came out disappointed, just like I'm disappointed with the rest of them. Definitely, it looked like a mess. It looked like you said you couldn't figure out where Snyder started, where Whedon ended, and it was just, and they destroyed Batman. And
That's
how do you
what I
go
was
from
going to get to.
this
That's what I was
dark,
about to get to.
brooding? He was the best part of Dawn of Justice, and they completely turned him into this wussy, this wuss. He was a big fat wuss. It was horrible.
He's a fanboy.
Yeah, so
Superman
let's get
fanboy.
Let's get into that because we're gonna go ahead and go through each character in Justice League, and we're gonna break it down and share our thoughts on that. And let's start off with what happened to Batman. And me and Bear have discussed this repeatedly. Whedon screwed Batman worse than the Joker ever did. They turned, and Jason, you made some good points about in the beginning of the movie, they give Batman the arc of like being the guy who's like essentially kind of like the Nick Fury, but is an active on the team and he's recruiting the people. And you get that. He's picking up his story arc from Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. So he's doing that. But then you start seeing where the rewrites come in. And they're all bad CGI in the background, unfinished. And they turned him into like a Superman fanboy.
Agreed.
Like, Superman says at the end, you didn't bring me back because you like me. And he's like, I did it not like you.
Yeah,
What?
that was stupid. That was really stupid.
It was incredibly stupid. And the whole thing with it was a cool scene when they're fighting at the Superman Memorial, when he fights the Justice League and stuff. It was a cool idea, and I do love the whole thing where Superman sees the Flash when he's in the Speed Force. That's
my favorite
great.
part of the movie.
Yeah, exactly. But then we get, do you bleed? When Superman turns it on him and says, do you bleed? And then throws him into the cop car, okay? And then we get, something's definitely bleeding when he's grabbing his knee. Really?
You took a great line. You took a great line from Batman vs Superman. Probably one of the best lines in that movie was, when he stood out of that car, looking at him and looking at him face to face, knowing how powerful he is, and having the balls to say, "Do you bleed?" Yeah. Like that was a great moment, and Whedon turned it into a joke. In like a joke line. And actually that scene where he said, well, you didn't bring me back because you like me, right? Yeah. It would have been much better and self-depreciating if he would have said, well, you didn't bring me back for my killer smile. If he would have done that, that would have been perfect because his smile was all fucked up in this movie anyway. So you might as well just make fun of it at that point.
Yeah,
but,
I don't even know.
Yeah, but no, they're just not they weren't bright enough to come up with something like that.
Yeah, and then you get the whole things like, I didn't bring a pitchfork. That he says to Aquaman later on. Another goofy thing that I guarantee was a...
Yeah. That's a Whedon line.
Yeah, that
was a Whedon line. Bro, the whole scene in the graveyard between Flash and Cyborg was fucking awful. Yes. Was awful, right? You're looking at, you're like, okay, you got Cyborg who could just pick the whole fucking thing out of the ground, and you have Flash that could probably dig the hole in about 3 seconds, and here they are, the two of them, and they're having this awkward conversation, and I'm saying, what the fuck is this? Like, why are they doing this like that?
It was that's another Joss Whedon special.
That was exactly what that was. It was completely, and again, if I was, Snyder says that he never watched the actual version of Justice League.
Because Christopher Nolan told him not to.
Well, they probably did because they probably
did. Christopher Nolan told him don't watch it.
Oh, did he? Oh, that's everybody
that
needs.
Was an actual quote.
That was, and is that the reason why Ray Fisher said that on Twitter? Everybody needs a friend like Christopher Nolan.
Yes, and I was about to quote him. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Oh my God, that is great.
Like
we all need a friend like Chris Nolan. That's for sure. Oh my God. So, but yeah, it's if I was Snyder and I saw what they came up with and how they just molded all of this other crap onto the basis of his story, I would have been beside myself. I really would have. And he got full directing. Whedon's name is not even on the film as a director.
No.
This is all Snyder. Guess
what? You can't escape us. We've attached it. You are Justice League. And you always will be.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. You'll never get away from that. So that covers what they did to Batman, which was absurd. But now that the Kryptonian sympathizer has arrived and he is on the show now, let's talk about Superman. So Exactly. I'm gonna say, I mean, Tim or Tony, you guys are the Superman guys, so you guys can jump in. But I think outside of the ridiculous mustache, Superman's awesome in this movie.
Yes, he is.
He's actually pretty awesome.
I don't have much bad to say about it, other than the fact that they didn't have enough of him in there. I thought it was always a mistake not having him in the marketing. I mean, at the last second of BVS, you saw right then and there that that he wasn't going to be dead for long with that stupid dirt, which again they never went back to with the dirt coming off of the thing.
Again.
Never acknowledged again. So that was. You knew right away he was coming back. He's Superman. Did they really think he was going to kill him off? He was going to be dead forever. Why would you leave him out of the marketing? That didn't make any sense whatsoever. Just allude to it. If you don't want to put him front and center, allude to the fact that it's that there's a plan to bring him back or whatever the case may be. But the black suit, everybody wanted the black suit. We didn't get it. Obviously, looks like we're going to get it next week. We're obviously going to get it next week, so we're going to definitely get it. But I mean, I didn't have a problem with pretty much anything he did, other than the scenes where his lip looked like he could just pull it over top of his head. I mean, that was really the only thing I had a problem with.
If we can try to overlook invisible mustache, which now none of us ever will. But Tim, what did you think of Superman in this film? He's not in it much, but
no, yeah, obviously it was a big step up from dark and brooding and upset and angry Superman we got in the previous two movies. Yeah, I mean, he was enjoyable except for the stupid lip. I like what they did. He was actually joking at the end, making he did his whole super. There it is again. Oh my god, look how bad that is. Look how bad that is.
Nightmares,
bro. I can guarantee you that any one of us on Photoshop could have did a better job than what we saw right here.
That's what I always wonder. I go, you see the magic that they've done with CGI in the world, and you couldn't take a mustache off a lip? It doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, but no, Superman. Are you going to get into certain scenes before I want to jump into a scene real quick?
No, if you want to jump into a scene, we were going to go character by character, and then maybe.
We'll go. But you know what scene bugs the living hell out of me in this movie is they had to sneak Superman into the ship. You're talking about the 5 most powerful beings in this galaxy, and you have to put him in a truck and have the Flash disguise himself as an army man when he could have just picked the body up and ran it through the goddamn gate. You could have had one, and then Batman just calmly shoots down. Hey, we're here. We snuck in. What do you mean you snuck in? You're not even in yet. You're in the gate. It's like, what do you people think? Those are the things that. That's why they bugged the shit out of me of those little things. You had to have the Flash drive a truck, disguise it. He could have picked the body up and ran through. It doesn't make any freaking sense. And by the way, what you said about the marketing too, don't forget, at Comic-Con, they had Jason Momoa say, Superman's dead. Superman's dead. Yeah. So they really made a mistake with the marketing, because he came out at Comic-Con and said, no, he's dead. He's not coming back. He's dead. So that's like a huge mistake right there in itself.
Well, there's no question that at the time Warner Brothers was being this whole DC universe was handled so poorly by them. They wanted Nolan to take over. He didn't want to do it, and he handpicked Zack Snyder. And then what happens? They never trusted him. They let him make Man of Steel. It didn't make as much money as they were expecting him to make. They gave him Batman vs Superman. They tried to pull the rug out from under him with that, and then they completely destroyed Justice League on him. So they never really trusted the guy. And how do you turn the keys over to a multi-billion-dollar franchise to a guy you don't totally trust, and you're going to completely undercut everything he does? They made it a million times worse, and now they had to rehire him back and give him that $70 million to fix the mess that they made off of his movie, and everybody that really wanted all along. It's unbelievable.
But to be fair, though, Tony, different management hired him back to do this whole thing.
Yes, and I give Walter Hamada a tremendous amount of credit for going back and saying, look, we messed up. We lost $150 million on the last movie. We're going to give you $70 million more. So they're $225 million in the hole. Imagine being $250 million in the hole, and now you're going to try to make some of this money back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They are really banking on a lot for Zack Snyder's Justice League to essentially, reinvigorate at least the Justice League IP on this thing moving forward. Because I think that for the DCU, besides the Wonder Woman 84 fiasco, they were on a good stretch. And then they kind of hit that speed bump right there.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Calm down, Tim. Calm down. Different episode.
Yes. No, but I mean, it was we weren't doing cartwheels either about it. So we said what we said. But I think that's Superman, though. I think is pretty good with this. She's not in a lot, but he does show up at the end. He kicks Steppenwolf's ass all over the place, like with no problem. And regarding the mid-credit scene with the whole race, does it make sense? Nope. But we got a cool, nod to the comics where there was the race between Flash and Superman, and I looked at it as a fun thing where I'm like, something, I could have fun with that. It did bring a smile to my face.
And it's a post-credit scene. Like, if they tried that bullshit in the movie, I'd be like, no, that's garbage. But it's a post-credit scene. It was meant to be fun. So I take that for what it was.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever.
And then not for that. I'm sorry, Tim, but not for that. But I just remembered this movie does leave you off on a high note because the post credit scene is fantastic because you get Deathstroke, you get Bald Lex at that point, right? Who's on the boat or whatnot or whatever. So at least you had the oh my god, like they're going someplace with this, and you got to see Deathstroke and what is it? Joe Manganiello is the guy who plays it, which I'm assuming I've heard that he's going to be in. He's
in Zack Snyder's Justice League too.
Right. So he's right. So getting off the post credit scene being good. Leaves the movie kind of off like all right, it was you were kind of a little bit excited at that point. I remember talking about that when we walked out of the theater, but again, after a while it kind of just tears it apart, especially when you hear how much more of those guys at least Manganiello was supposed to be in the the original part of Zack's, and that's goes back to them just pulling it apart and just not trusting him to do what he had to do.
Yeah. So to complete with we discussed Batman, we discussed Superman, so Wonder Woman. In this movie, she's great in this, in my opinion. I mean, that's the first scene that we get to see her. She kicks those guys' ass, those terrorists' ass. That it was like in Paris or whatever. She wipes the floor with them. I have no problem with that. Now that apparently she knew how to fly at this point, which was kind of strange that she didn't just fly that bomb out and jumped up and threw it out. She could have flew it away, and that would have been that. But other films didn't really go cohesive with this thing, so. Whatever. Shocking. We got that. But maybe she flew up when we first see her. She's on that whole statue, that golden statue up there. I don't think she jumped up there, and I don't think she climbed. Maybe she flew on top of there and she was hanging out.
Would have been nice to see that.
Would have been nice to see that, but we did not.
Though, of course, if they would have used their CGI, they used their CGI, they would have seen the wires pulling her across the screen.
Yeah, feels like Peter Pan on Broadway.
Yeah,
exactly.
Spider-Man: Turn on the Dark.
Yeah, it would have been complete disaster with this fiasco. But I think Wonder Woman's got a solid arc in this movie. I think she's pretty good. She kicks ass in the beginning. She's got her other scenes where she gets the heads up from the Amazonians that there's war coming. She does the whole explaining and the exploration scene where she's telling Bruce about the mother boxes and all of that, so that was cool. And she has some good scenes throughout. There was the one scene where she's talking to Bruce Wayne, by the way, after one of their fights, and she has a robe randomly that we don't know where it came from. It's never seen before, and it's never seen after again. I don't know what the hell that was about. She just randomly throws on that robe. I didn't quite understand that one. But she kicks Steppenwolf's ass multiple times, by the way, in the film. And in 2 fights that they fight him, she goes toe-to-toe with him by herself. And looks like that she can get the job done. So I don't see anything with that. And
after after taking on, seeing her take on what's it called in BVS? What the hell is I'm just drawing a blank right now. Doomsday. After seeing her take on Doomsday, I mean, she was doing more to Doomsday than even Superman was. So you knew that she was going to have those scenes until he showed up.
So Bear actually brings up the next point that I thought was something that we would get to involving Wonder Woman, since we're going to go through this by character, is the whole thing with her and Flash.
Oh,
another Joss Whedon weird joke in there. Now that we know a lot of things about Joss Whedon, it really looks even worse.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're fighting Steppenwolf in that whole underground of Gotham Harbor, and then all of a sudden he goes to save her, ends up on top of her for 2 seconds, and then jumps off, and you can tell he's got this look on his face like, "Oh, I didn't do anything." Just another shot at some sort of joke that was corny.
Dumb.
That was dumb. Like it was completely pointless.
And there were a couple of shots where it seemed like they were trying specifically to show off,
Yes.
Wonder Woman's ass.
Yes, there was.
A couple of crotch shots, and it was noticeable. Like sometimes you see something, you're like, oh, come on, you're just being sensitive or whatever.
Yeah.
No, they were noticeable.
Yeah, I think I know what scenes you're talking about. And I was like, that's unnecessary.
Yeah, like I think when they hopped off the tank, in the when they were underneath the river.
Okay. Yes.
And it was like I was like, whoa, I didn't see that. Like I've never seen that before. And
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's a very thing. I guess that they talk about through the director's lens, you can go ahead and shoot certain characters certain ways, and that's what you're going to end up with.
Mm-hmm.
But what did you guys think? So, I mean, Tim, what did you think of Wonder Woman in Justice League?
Yeah, really no complaints about her in this one. She probably my favorite iteration of hers other than Dawn of Justice. Yeah, she was good. I had no problem with her whatsoever in this one. It's more like you said, it's the story that really, really hurt this movie all around more than the actual characters themselves. When we get to Flash, I got a few problems with Flash, but everyone else, I thought everybody was decent except for maybe Flash. Other than that, I really have no problems with the cast. Like you said, it was the script, it was the story, it was the CGI, just horrendous.
Yeah, you can see it's a Frankenstein's monster thing that was just thrown together because they needed to make a release date. Jason, what did you think of Wonder Woman in this movie?
Yeah, I liked her in this movie. I think she's one of the few characters that's consistent from the beginning to the end. Like, we talked about Batman and how I really liked they set up his arc, but as we discussed, it fizzles off by the end. She's one of the characters that starts off with something and ends off with something, and she's consistent. I do want to point out, though, just to dive into the last fight where they're fighting Steppenwolf, and it made me think of this, because she's really going to town, beating the hell out of Steppenwolf, and then you have a moment where where Cyborg and Clark Kent, do the thing where they break off the mother boxes, and they just have time to lay there and quip to each other. And I actually had this thought, like, is Steppenwolf gone? I mean, they are still in the same chamber. And then smash cuts to Steppenwolf coming out at her. And I was like, are they in two different rooms? I just thought that she's fighting Steppenwolf and other people are just hanging out and quipping in the same room. I just thought it was weird.
Yeah, well, they saw the other two fights. I mean, Superman didn't, but Cyborg maybe saw the other fight. I was like, yeah, she's got this. It's all good. She's whooping ass. But well, I don't know which character put this on there, but the scene that was brought up earlier about Aquaman sitting on the lasso of truth, which was randomly thrown on the Batmobile, because that's something Wonder Woman does. She just leaves her lasso of truth hanging around random places and just happened to throw it on the. Yeah, she walked in the room. I was like, hey, there's a Batmobile. I don't need this. So, guys, what's up? And they get into a conversation. Then he sits on it, doesn't see this glowing lasso of truth, and
warmth. Remember, it's warm.
It's also warm. That's true. We did find that out. Steve Trevor did say it was actually
his ass would have been on fire.
I agree with everything you're saying, but I do still think it's funny him just going on this monologue how he thinks they're all going to die. Like
no. But that's another way to describe this movie. The payoff was great, but how we get there when you start applying logic was like, what the fuck? Like,
good.
Really?
That's a great point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that, and that's just it bothered me. It ruined a really good scene. You could have came up with some other way that I don't know. You got him to do that, but Tim mentions the Flash, Ezra Miller's Flash in this movie. So this is the first time we got to see him. Now that you think about it, this is the only time we've really seen him since then. I actually think that there's points where they set up, like when we get introduced to him in this film, he's talking to his father and visiting him in prison, and it's a very serious conversation. And then before he gets into there, obviously he does the Flash thing and does the whole make drawing on the guy's face, which I actually thought was kind of funny. That joke did work for me. But it was going well, and I think his interactions with Bruce, when Bruce goes to recruit him, is good. and they have that conversation, and he's telling him. He analyzes his suit. It's a suit that people use to go in like with space and everything, not to burn up on the solar shuttles. And he explains the Speed Force to him, and I think that's a good conversation that they have. And their interaction keeps going with, well, so what's your superpower? And he's like, I'm rich. So I was like, all right, again, I don't think that was a rewrite. I actually think that that's in there. I think that's staying in the film. And I thought it was good. But then as the film keeps going on, like Barry starts getting kind of dopey. So you introduce him as smart, and then he starts becoming this like goofball, like kind of idiot in a way. And I know he does explain to Bruce that he's not really good with people. Like they do touch on that a little bit. So I guess if you want to look at that as an explanation. But Tony, what did you think of the Flash in this film?
Well, like you said, there were scenes where he was great. That initial scene where he meets Bruce Wayne, where he picks the batarang out of the air like that was a good scene. The scene where he's getting into the car makes us think, what is your superpower? Like that was great. Yeah. But there are some very cringeworthy things he says in this movie. They had the whole scene, like I said before, in the graveyard, that was ridiculous. The whole scene was ridiculous. The scene where he's we'll get to the Russian family at some point or another, but that whole thing with him was ridiculous. The scene where they're having the argument, where Bruce and Diana are having the argument in the Batcave, and he's like, oh, she could kill you, and we'll all pretend like we didn't see anything. Like, like dumb. What the like, dude, this dude just recruited you, and now all of a sudden you're like, it was stupid. It was dumb. The scene where he was flipping around, going and sitting in all the different things in the Batcave, that was cool. Like, that was fine. Yeah, that was Barry Allen-esque. But this other stuff, like this dopey shit that they had him doing from like that point on, was just. I thought it just ruined it for him.
And for a guy who's a CSI investigator by the end of the movie, he doesn't know East from West.
Oh yeah, well, how about the fact is that he's a CSI investigator, and here he is running around with fucking his fingertips open on all of his hands. Like, what does that make any sense to anybody? I mean,
well, he wants to leave his fingertips on.
Apparently, maybe so fast he just burns them off. Well, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's so stupid. Like that. That's not the Flash costume. Is what the Flash costume is. Like, I understand you want to make changes to it, but he's a forensic. He's a forensics. What's it called? Not a psychologist, but he's a forensics expert, and he's got his hands open. Like, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever if you're trying to conceal your identity.
Yeah, and of all the things that you're going to do, that's probably one thing that you would know not to do.
Exactly.
Tim, what's your deal with the Flash in this movie?
I love the introduction scene with Bruce Wayne. I thought that was great. But like you said, and like Bear just said it, you guys just said it. Then it's like he's just like this idiot kid who's afraid of everything. I remember Barry Allen being an arrogant prick, if I'm correct, like in the cartoons and all that stuff. And I love that. I love the fact that he was arrogant. But he knows he's a badass. And he doesn't care who knows. He would race Superman. He don't give a shit. That's the Barry Allen I like. They made him too Ezra Miller and not enough Barry Allen as far as I go. And I hope that really changes, because if they're doing Flashpoint, where this whole movie is going to ride on his back, you got to bring that shit, man, because this whole thing is gonna count on that movie. That movie is the gatekeep to all the rest of the DCU movies. So I hope they get him out of that little, hey, I'm a kid. Like, I don't know. I can't even pronounce it. He bugs the hell out of me after a while. Scared of everything.
I hope next Thursday we get a different guy, is what I hope.
We might. No, we might. We really might.
I really do. I think we're going to get a different character, because I think that most of that dopey shit was all Joss Whedon. And I don't think that that's where it was going. I think the Barry Allen from the meeting with Bruce, that was more him than what we actually got.
Yeah, and then because I understand it's like he's a very green Barry Allen, right? Like he hasn't really had a lot of experience. He even tells Bruce, like when they're about to, is like, you guys are all about to do battle. I get that. That's cool. But I've only pushed a couple of people over. And Bear brings out a good point. Him knocking out the dude robbing the convenience store in BVS, he seemed more adept than just, quote, pushing people over.
And Boomerang, too. He apprehended Boomerang, too. It was exactly that from Suicide Squad. So he's done a lot more than just push people and run away. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And by now, he must know that he could flick somebody and murder them if he really wanted to. But at this point in time, he should definitely be well aware of that. So why would you be afraid to flick a bug? I understand you're not going to flick a person. He's a good guy. He's not going to flick a guy and kill him. I get that.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. But these bugs, the parademons, flick away, my friend. Full speed. You could probably kill half the room before the rest of them get there. That's what I want to see. That's why they can't mess up this next one.
Yeah.
See, I have to admit, I did not like the Flash in this movie. I don't really like Ezra Miller as the Flash. I got nothing against. I don't actually know him from anything but this, so it's not a personal thing. I do like.
You don't watch Harry Potter?
Who is he in Harry Potter?
In Fantastic Beasts, he is. Tony, help me out here. The name of the guy. He's actually really good in that. Yeah, he's.
No, he's not Grindelwald.
No, he's not
Grindelwald. That's Johnny Depp is Grindelwald.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen the Fantastic Beasts movie. I'm.
If you were a Harry Potter fan, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I read the books.
Okay.
I'm officially House Slytherin. It's official.
Okay. Oh, there you go. All right. See the Fantastic Beasts movie. It goes into all the stuff that they left out of the Harry Potter films about Grindelwald and all that other stuff. That's all. That's what these movies are. So
okay.
But
so
yes, he's got a big part in Fantastic Beasts.
Okay, but
he's much better in it.
So my thing with the Flash, I agree with you. The stuff with Bruce Wayne is great. I actually will give him a little more leeway. I actually did like the idea of him going, wait, that's like a god thing in there, like with Steppenwolf, and I'm like a street level guy. Like I think that's what he was trying to convey when he said I just push people. It's a stupid line, but like, and I like Batman saying save one, and I like that idea, but he gets so stupid, and I think the worst Flash moment. And I like the Flash as a character. I'm rewatching and going into the CW Flash for so I can be caught up with what we're doing in this season. That's how much I like the Flash as a character. But like the stuff in Russia where they're speaking Russian to him and he goes Dostoevsky.
Yeah,
like,
I know. That's what I was just saying. Like that scene just bothered the shit out of me from the very beginning. Like, and he had that little stupid face. And I'm like,
right.
What the?
So again, they have roots of something interesting, and then they completely destroy it. And I that's my take on the Flash.
Mm-hmm.
And Bear's got another take with the Flash. He's not a moron. He built his suit out of space ship stuff because he knew it would tolerate his speed, but he's a moron.
Yeah. But now he thinks Dostoevsky is a Russian word, and like that's just dumb. That's just dumb.
Exactly. So why don't we talk about Aquaman in this film, which was again our introduction to Aquaman. So I think we all agreed when we reviewed Aquaman, and we can get Tim's thoughts on this too, because he wasn't with us for this. Is we kind of like the surfer dude, kind of like dude drinks beer and drinks a lot, and they kind of reinvented Aquaman to make him cool, and I think it works a lot in this film. He's one of the highlights for me personally in this film for a character I don't particularly love. Like Batman's my guy in the Justice League, but Aquaman is pretty awesome. He kicks ass constantly. I like the whole thing when he's on the Batmobile and he's what did you say? Or something like that. Oh yeah, when he's got the whole thing. I think the one scene that's bizarre though is when Steppenwolf uses the boom tube to go to Atlantis to get the mother box. And yes, he goes to Atlantis to get the mother box. And Aquaman actually confirms that later on in the film. But in Aquaman, they said he's never stepped foot in Atlantis before, which makes no damn sense whatsoever. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That whole scene is just the continuity with the other films it literally just makes no sense. He meets Mera for the first time. They do acknowledge that, in Justice League, in Aquaman, that they did meet each other before and that he saved the world from by beating Steppenwolf, which is great. But we get that scene where he clearly goes to Atlantis and then suits up and gets his mother's stuff there. I don't know. It's just continuity problems that I had with Aquaman. But I like Aquaman's character in this movie, but his connection to the other films is silly. Tim, what do you think of Aquaman in this film? Or just take on Aquaman?
All praise Jason Momoa. I mean, I thought it was a fantastic way to change the character because there's no way the blonde, gold, green pants from the Fruit of Friends was ever going to work. Never going to work on film. even though he pulled the costume off in Aquaman, I will say that he did pull that costume off. But yeah, I like the changes they made to him. I thought it was a fantastic way to do it, and I thought he was a perfect way. He's my guy where if you take him out of Aquaman and put someone else in, it's a whole different movie. It's like I'm not going to enjoy it, but I think he made the movie, and he was really good in this also. And I love the scene when they're fighting Superman. That's obviously the best scene in the entire movie anyway. But I love he's not right. He's not right. Like he knows this dude's not right, and we're gonna get fucked up in a second. He is not himself. I love that scene. That whole scene was fantastic. Yeah, I'm a big Jason Momoa guy, and I love Aquaman.
Tony, what did you think? I mean, I'm gonna know. I think we know what you guys think of Aquaman in this film because we loved Aquaman in Aquaman. So
right, yeah, no, I thought it was a great introduction for him. His smart assy kind of responses, and just his ability to say whatever he wants. Just again the stupid lines that they gave him. Were the only problems. The piranha line and the thing like that. That was just that was dumb. But that's writing. That's not him. I thought he pulled the part off great. I love the scenes in the beginning, which were the Zack scenes where where Bruce goes to find him. Where they have the first encounter, where they're kind of having a war of words, the two of them, before he takes off and says, "I don't want to be any part of this." So they were good scenes with him. Again, action wise, in the scene where he's taking out parademons with the what's it called with the trident was great. Like He's great. I mean, he is Aquaman. He is one of the cornerstones of the DCEU. I loved him in it. I loved him in it. So I had no issues with him other than the bullshit stuff that they gave him to do or say as the movie went on.
Go ahead, Jason. What were your thoughts on Aquaman and Justice League?
My only problem with Aquaman and Justice League is that this movie thinks that the Flash is the comic relief. Because they don't give Jason Momoa as Aquaman is funny, right? And he's tough funny, and we see that. And so when I first saw this movie, I didn't have Aquaman as context; it wasn't out yet. But rewatching this, just watching Aquaman and loving Jason Momoa's tough, funny approach to this character, because he's a badass who's also just genuinely funny and smart, and
he's a smart ass.
He does some really good stuff with it, and the fact that it's Ezra Miller as Flash, who's set up as being the funny comic relief one. And I'm not saying Jason Momoa needs to be comic relief, tripping on himself, but his tough funniness, his smartassness, his beer guzzling, getting into fights, what his Aquaman stuff that he does in Aquaman would have served this movie much better if they focus more on that and less on the Flash. So my only problem with Jason Momoa is they don't use him to his full potential, and that has nothing to do with him. That's just a problem with the movie itself because he's fantastic.
Right.
Yeah. So I think Bear's bringing up. He brought up one thing which I thought that was the case. I did read somewhere that the mother box was technically outside of Atlantis. That's what we were told, but I'm going to tell you the truth and never really thought about it too much until this viewing of Justice League, literally just before we went on air. I finished it. Aquaman himself confirms that they stole it from Atlantis. I mean, those are literally his own words.
Yeah, and they could report anything they want after the fact because they just find holes in the story and you're like, oh, we should put out there that it was outside of Atlantis. Of course, they can make it say whatever they want after the fact.
Yeah, exactly. So Cyborg, he's the last member of the Justice League before we get to the villain of the film, or the on-screen villain of the film, because we all know the real villain of the film is whoever was running Warner Brothers at that time. So that's the villain that's worse than Darkseid, and essentially. I liked Cyborg in this movie. I know he wasn't the whole character that we see in Teen Titans, and by the way, for you guys who will be watching Doom Patrol, Cyborg is in Doom Patrol. There's not this Cyborg, but another person playing Cyborg. A much lighter tone to it. So, but this Cyborg is a dark and brooding character, and he's dealing with a lot of stuff about being put back together, and he's trying to figure out if he's a monster or not. So, and they do address that, and I think that's actually a pretty interesting scene that's there, that he has that whole conversation with his father. But he does lighten up at times, and he does give us Booyah at the end, which I think is a pretty, and it was earned, I think, at that point after they finished kicking Steppenwolf's ass. Tony, what did you think of Cyborg in this movie?
I feel the same way that I felt about the Flash. I felt like he was, the beginning scenes where you started to get him and his father and whatnot. You got one cyborg, and as the movie got on, it just the scenes tried to get goofy and so on and so forth, and that's where I had a problem. Like that's really like when the scene where him and Superman are going to pull the mother box apart, and they're saying, "I really like being alive," and yes, I do too. Like. It just again, the tone of the tone was different, for both, for the beginning part and the end part. So that's really where I had a problem with him.
Okay. Jason, what do you got with Cyborg?
Well, I mean, at the top of this set, I did say that Cyborg is one of the things I really liked about this movie, and I do like him a lot. I agree with Tony. I think, like, what I had said before, when him and Superman are quipping while Wonder Woman is fighting Steppenwolf in the background, I thought that was ridiculous. But I think overall, Cyborg's a solid character with a nice arc, and I really like the fact that the reason, like what he perceives as what makes him a monster is what is able to make him help the Justice League save the day. It's his connection to the alien tech and the mother box, and him, coming to terms with the fact what happened to him. So I liked his arc. I liked that actor. I liked the character. But I agree with Tony when he gets like silly. The same with the Flash. It's a bit too much. I just don't think he ever gets as silly as the Flash. So it didn't bother me as much.
Okay. Well, Tim, what did you think of Cyborg in this film?
I've never been a fan of the character. I really don't like the character. I don't know what's about him that bugs me, but I just don't like him. But I think was it Ray Fisher? That's his name.
Yes.
Ray Fisher. I think he did a good job. He didn't bother me in this movie. And everything like you said, he's almost comparable to the Flash as far as two completely different guys within a 90-minute span. So I don't know if that was cut together weird but he's a completely different person in 90 minutes. But it was okay. Definitely not the worst part of this movie.
No, I think the next thing might be one of the worst parts of this film. Steppenwolf, who is the villain that we're given in this film.
I was going to say the fact that ship is still in the middle of the city. That's the real villain. That's the real villain of this movie.
Well, I tell the truth though, Tim, I almost think I can look at it where like they let Star Labs set up there and they were kind of like dissecting it and breaking it down and trying to understand it. I'm not saying it's the greatest explanation.
Superman would never allow that in a million years.
But he was dead.
Yeah, Superman's dead.
No, I mean,
he couldn't do anything about it.
I mean, after Man of Steel, he would have picked that ship up and put it somewhere else. He never would have left it there for Lex Luthor to find and walk into.
Yeah,
Just saying. That's
a fair. Tim, that's a fair point. That's absolutely a fair point. So Steppenwolf. I mean, we know we're getting a completely different Steppenwolf, by the way, next in less than a week from now.
Good.
He looks like a PlayStation 2 character that literally is just fighting them. He looks like he's in another movie or in another form of media of some sort, and it's extremely jarring every time he's on the screen. His dialogue is a joke. He's written like a PlayStation 2, like Big Bad, like one of those little like video scenes that you get to, when you're interacting with the villain. It's just, it falls flat on so many levels, and then Superman shows up, throws and tosses him around like he's a rag doll, and then he gets taken away by parademons because he's scared, which is
that was
a whole nother thing that's just ridiculous. I'll give him one thing that I thought was actually decent. When he's interrogating that one guy in Gotham Harbor, and the guy's like, "Oh, but I have a family," and he has a great line where he does say, "Why does everyone keep telling me that?" Which tells you that he's been interrogating a bunch of people and all like, "Please don't kill me, my family." And I kind of dug that thing, but everything else about him is just completely unwatchable.
What, you didn't like the nutsack on his chin?
Oh, yeah. I don't like anything his appearance or he comes out of his mouth besides that one line. It's just absurd.
And I'll be honest with you, and this is one thing I am excited about the new one we're getting, is watching this movie. I was like, because I can look past the bad CGI because this movie is just chock full of bad CGI. So like, I'm not even. I didn't even harp on it. My brain just went, all right, just deal with it. Watch the movie, see what's going on. But narratively speaking, this guy should not have been the big villain. Darkseid needed to appear in this movie, and the fact that he doesn't is a big problem because Steppenwolf is nobody. I mean, Steppenwolf is like your intermediate video game boss on your way to Darkseid, Like, so the fact that he's the guy throughout the movie is a big misstep.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if we got like if we actually get Ben Affleck's Batman movie one day, let's just pretend that the absence, and then he fights somebody like Polka Dot Man, like Tim put up as his name there, which we can't see it on there. You'd be like, what the fuck is going on here? Are you shitting me? Like, this is what you came up with?
Exactly.
Tim, what did you think of Steppenwolf?
Horrible. I mean, he looks like the first season of South Park. Like, he just put like a little paper mache guy in there and like moved him around and moved his voice. He's absolutely terrible. And like you said, first of all, I can't get past the name. I keep hearing the song. Get your motor running. Every time. Every action scene, I'm singing that song every time he shows up on the screen. But yeah,
so your version of Justice League is better.
Yes. I guess so. I guess every scene is that I hear that song. So I guess
it's a ball cut.
It's he was just not good. It was a boring. Like you said, his minions turn on him because he's a little scared. Come on, what sort of stupid plot twist that was? That's what we want to call it. Other than that, he just god awful. I don't understand. Like you said, he's an intermediate boss. He's a middle guy.
Yeah.
Bruce Lee would fight him on the first floor, not the top floor. That's how terrible he is.
Tony, do you got anything to add about Steppenwolf before we get to one of the other big factors that sticks out like a sore thumb in this movie?
It's a terrible write. I mean, again, the CGI was absolutely terrible. The lines they gave him, how he kept saying "mother," like what the fuck?
Oh God,
bro?
yeah,
like,
it's weird. Yeah,
it's so
it's like her.
Yeah, exactly. You were born from you were born from her. I'm like, what the? It's so bad. It's so bad. The CGI, like the scene where he breaks out of the fucking whatever it is, the hut in what the Themyscira, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen, like you said, it's a PlayStation 2 game. It's like the sword or the whatever, the axe comes through the thing, and all of a sudden the thing has got a perfectly square box that he just walks out of. Like it's so poorly done. It's not even funny. It's not even. It's pathetic that they tried to pass this off as a big budget action film, comic book movie with all of these movies going on, and this was the shit that they pushed upon people. It's ridiculous.
Imagine that, but imagine also pushing a Russian family on us as the like.
I have so many problems with this.
For the Justice League.
I have so many problems with this.
Dude, Tony, when we walked out of that theater, and I turned to you and I was like, what was my first complaint besides me turning to you and saying
what was this shit? This was his exact quote. What was that shit with the Russian family? Like, was that necessary? And I'm like, the whole storyline was weird. Like, people are living in a like, if you did you watch the Chernobyl story? Like, that shit was real, and they made a joke about it. Like, these people are living in a nuclear demilitarized zone, and then, and the girl's grabbing bug spray. Like, what the fuck? It was so stupid. It was so stupid.
Yeah, it was brutal. Tim, give us your thoughts on the Russian family.
Please, I have no thoughts on it. But do you know what that scene to me is? It's the cop-out scene, and I'll explain exactly what I mean. Remember after Man of Steel, everybody was up in arms over the destruction of the city. Mm-hmm. Everyone went freaking crazy over how many people probably died, how many buildings died. Like, meanwhile, Godzilla don't give a shit. That's what I love about those movies. Mm-hmm. That's a whole other thing. So you go to Dawn of Justice. They conveniently fight this creature on an empty island.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Cop out. Hammer it home.
It's a cop out. So now you're gonna fight Darkseid, who happens to pick this little tiny, very barely there town full of nobodies to build whatever the hell he was. I don't even know what they were doing. I can't even understand what they were doing there. But I think it's the cop out again. Well, we can't do it in a major city. We can't do it. There's a lot of people. So let's throw it in the middle of Chernobyl, There's only like a handful of people living there, and we can get away with it. But then you got this one little hostage family who doesn't want to run. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Are
like
you
they were
freaking
tough and standing their ground.
No, and please, those parademons would have ate right through those goddamn walls. It's a shack in a nuclear waste town. You tell me they can't get through a piece of wood? What kind of demons are these? It's so stupid. But again, I think that's the cop out scene. I think they're like, oh, we can't cause any more damage. People might get upset, so let's put them in the middle of nowhere.
And the fact that we keep revisiting that family over and over, like if it was just them being saved by the Flash at the end, like, okay, this is a family running and they've saved them. But like, we spend time with this family. We watch this family have dinner. We watch the parademons descend upon them. We watch them get their shotgun and bug spray. It's like we didn't need to spend any more time with them except the Flash going, "I've saved you, people." That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then Bear's dropping in with, but that's how people can relate to the movie. Exactly. It was just a really stupid plot device that was thrown in there for, like Tim said, was to like almost like still apologizing for the mass destruction of Metropolis, like 4 movies ago at this point. That was there. It's really stupid.
Well, they went out of their way, even in BVS, to say that they were in a deserted part of the city. Remember?
Yes, they kept hammering it home.
They kept saying it down. They had Anderson Cooper, for Christ's sake, saying it. Oh, that part of town is dead. Really? Because I mean, I'm in Manhattan all the time, and if it's like that, I mean, there's no part of Manhattan that's dead at any time.
Well, they also say that, by the way, in this movie too, when they're going to fight in Gotham Harbor again. When they fight Steppenwolf the first time, they also start talking about that crap again. So it's like, enough, just let it go. It's okay. Superheroes can fight. Battles can happen. It's fine. Just let it go. We've moved on already. It's all good.
They haven't.
That bugged me. So people are upset about the dumbest things, and that was one of them. It's like, what do you think is going to happen when 2 super-powered beings are fighting all over the city? One doesn't give a shit about anything, and the other one's trying to stop them. People are going to die. Buildings are going to come down. It's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah, and and I thought that they did a really good job. You weren't on when we did the BVS thing, but when I thought they did a really good job. I always thought that the ending scene at Man of Steel was a little bit too much. It was a little too long. It was a lot of destruction and so on and so forth. But the fact that they tied it into the beginning of BVS and then into the storyline altogether about the Wayne Financial being destroyed, people being killed, like they built it into the story, and I thought it was an important part. And actually, for me, it actually made it better. So why you would start to go away from that, saying that now all of a sudden they're just fighting these places where magically there's no people, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is pretty ridiculous. And another point by Bear, they're so scared of with parademons not immediately destroy the family, and then they fucked up Steppenwolf. That's right. So they go after Steppenwolf, who's scared, but the Russian family, it's okay. They stood him off for I felt like a week or something like that. I forgot how long they saved the time.
The bug spray was really that did it. It was the bug spray.
They weren't scared. They had bug spray.
Yeah.
So one of the minor characters that that stood out for me actually more than ever this past time watching this was, and he's never going to get hardly mentioned again, is J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon. He's only in the movie for like 3 or 4 scenes, but he's great in those 3 or 4 scenes.
2. That's it. 2 scenes. The one scene before they meet up, and then the scene that they meet up, and then that was it. They cut everything else that he did out.
I thought he was in it at the end again, also when they show Batman.
I don't think so.
Oh no! The scene when he's talking to the guy, when the guy shows him the pictures.
That's the first scene.
The parademons. Then
that's the first scene, and then the second scene is when they're on the roof, and then that's it. He doesn't come in. He's not in it again.
Okay, so then perhaps it was 2 scenes, but I thought he was really good in the small part that he was given. Well, I know there was pictures of him working out, by the way, leading up to the movie, that he had to get big for this. I'm like, you're in the trench coat. What are you talking about?
I didn't even notice.
He's in more. They cut a lot of him out, so there will be more of him next week.
I'm very excited to see more of him with that.
Agreed.
I bet see Commissioner Gordon in a tank top, all jacked up. That was one of the big stories. I remember that too. He's working out. He's getting buff. I'm like, why, Commissioner Gordon?
Exactly. This is weird.
But he was ripped, and now all of a sudden, like I said, trench coat, on the roof with a hat, and you don't even see it. I better see him in a tank top next week. I'm going to be very upset.
So there was a couple of miscellaneous points that I do apologize. We should have touched on earlier. So one big thing that really, really, to quote one of Tim's favorite shows, South Park. Is what really grinds my fucking gears in this movie is why is Superman angry at Batman? The last time we saw them, they were fighting side by side together, taking down Doomsday, and they were BFFs, making cracks and jokes. I is she with you? I thought she was with you. They bonded over Martha and that whole fiasco that happened that we touched on. They were buddies, man. They could have went skipping down the street, holding hands together while they fought Doomsday, or while Wonder Woman fought Doomsday. But then she's like Diana's scared. Like, oh, that better not be you better not be the first person he sees when he comes back. And then the whole, like, do you bleed thing and, like, does the world need you stuff. What was with the Superman hating Batman crap?
And the fact that
nowhere.
And the fact that he brought him back. Like, he was one of the ones that brought him back. Like, it made no sense whatsoever. None. Yeah, and Batman, I don't give a shit. Batman would have never hid from that. He would have been front and center in that whole thing. Because he was the only person that he really had any contact with. He would have just been like, dude, you're back. This is what happened. This is what we did. No. It's just they put these other beings in front of him, and now all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose, and then he shows up at the end. Like, that doesn't. It did. The whole scene didn't make any sense.
That was a stupid scene. It was stupid that I can't stop myself from shooting at Superman. Oh, I can't stop myself from doing. And then what you had said, I think what they were going for was Superman's not right. Maybe because we did see what happens when you resurrect someone in BVS, right? Yes. Sometimes it's Doomsday, surprise. So I could get that maybe that's what they were afraid of, but the fact that for that to have worked, he needed to have come back and been confused and not known who he was or who they were. But the whole, the Batman hatred makes zero fucking sense. Zero in the continuity of any of these movies.
Yeah, and the whole thing about him, so he just conveniently forgot the last scene of the movie from BVS. That was the only thing that he doesn't remember, but he remembers Lois and he remembers everything else. Like that,
right? And seeing Lois was the thing that snapped him back into reality. Like,
yes,
no, the whole scene didn't make any sense. And I'm very interested to see what we get next week, which was what was filmed by Joss Whedon and what was not. But I mean, the CGI in that scene is absolutely atrocious. So I really think that was all shot after the fact.
Yeah, and to Tim's point, I mean, the fight, the scene itself has a lot of good intentions, like Superman fighting the Justice League, and we see the
Flash
Force,
thing.
the Flash
yes,
thing.
Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
But then the Justice League stuff surrounding it, that's what kind of ended up ruining that scene for me. As many times I keep going back and watching the film.
Yeah, it's the corny nonsense that they put in. That's the first thing, and the second thing that they did was that the CGI was atrocious. I mean, it was terrible. Yeah. You see her standing, trying to hold off, she's trying to hold him off, and she's got flat feet on a step, and nothing looked right. Like, nothing looked right at all when he's tossing them around. Even it looked ridiculous. It looks like a movie that you would find on Channel 13 from 1979. It was terrible.
Yeah, and another thing, by the way, sorry, go ahead, Tim.
I was saying, Tony, you made a great point too, and it doesn't make any sense. The real Batman, no matter how fanboyish or sorry he is that about Superman dying, he would be ready for Superman not being right in the head if he popped up from that ground. He would have that little green chunk of ready. He wouldn't be all, oh, remember me? I'm sorry I killed another. No, he would be ready. He would be like, listen, are you okay? No? Here you go. Here's the rock. When you calm down, I'll take the rock away. Until you calm down, we're going to leave the rock right here. And that's the end of it. That's what he would have done.
Yep. It's just so poorly done.
He would have had the kryptonite, and he would have had every Volkswagen Beetle towed in a 5-mile radius.
So what I love about Tim's comment there is that if you don't know Tim's thing with Batman about having prep time and being able to take down anyone, but now he's coming around to it. He's saying, yes, in Justice League, Batman would have had months, years, a year to prepare for this crap. He would have had that spear. Ready. He would have had that spear again at that dude's neck the second he came alive. Yeah. I would have been like, as soon as he opened up his eyes, like, are you okay? Or I'm going to stab you right in the damn neck with the damn spear. That's what would have happened.
We always joke the Volkswagen thing took on a life of its own. It's always been a joke for years now.
It's been a running one.
But my argument's always been a spontaneous thing where if Superman woke up one day and said, you know what, I'm going to kill Batman today, and just went out and killed him, he's going to kill him. But of course, 2-3 weeks preparation, or Batman's ready. Of course, he can fight back, no problem. My whole thing is based on Superman having a bad day, wake up on the wrong side of the bed, saying, "I'm going to kill Batman today." There's nothing Batman can do about it.
Yeah, there's no prep there.
Yeah, there's no prep.
Yeah, and the Batman we get in DC.
Joke.
Yeah, and the Batman we get in the DCEU is an older Batman, which Bear points out, especially older Batman, like we saw in The Dark Knight Returns. Yeah. That dude is prepared for everything, so there's no question about it. But another thing that really pisses me off with this movie is the way Bruce talks about the mother boxes. He's like, when he doesn't quite know what they are yet, and as Diana is telling him about it, he's like, I don't know what's in them, but they were like from Lex's files that we got. Is there money? Is there power in them? Like when he says, "Is there money in them?" I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Like money? Like what the fuck are you talking about, old man? Like that's ridiculous. Yeah, like a being from another world has come to collect the cash. Like what the fuck is wrong with you? Like that was a stupid line.
It made him look so stupid. But even think like, is there power in them?
Money, power.
Yeah, yes, Bruce. Yeah, that's what you
women.
think.
There are women in them.
Yeah, the presidency. The presidency's in the mother box. You moron. What the?
Yeah.
Although, how great would it be if the end of Justice League was Steppenwolf being president with lots of women and money?
Oh, that would just be hilarious.
or a Pikachu card or something like really ridiculous, something really stupid. Like what the hell is in there? That's how ridiculous that money. No, that's true. That's how ridiculous the money comment is. Money. You think something? I'm not even going to bring it. You already said it.
Bruce, you really a guy who has a lot of money. Do you have your money in big boxes like this that are stored around there? Really?
This is the thing. Okay, in the speech that he makes, right, to Diana, whatever. There is a war coming from another world. Okay, and then he's talking to Alfred, talking about what's in the box: money, power. Wait a minute. You just said that an enemy is coming from another world. What money are you talking about? Like, what kind of money is going to be in the box?
Yeah, I don't know who. Does he think Lex put the money in there?
Like, what the hell is he talking about? Like, that is just...
He thinks it's space mafia stuff, you know?
Yeah, there you go.
This is not the world's greatest detective that's been doing this in Gotham for 25 years. I can tell you that much. That was just...
Well, in his defense, Batman's not used to super alien or superhuman thing. He's used to guys who rob banks and this and that. So maybe like the Riddler steals money, the Joker steals money, the Penguin steals money. Maybe there's money in those stupid boxes. We don't know.
How the tables have turned. Tim is defending Batman now. Well, we are attacking him. Wow, this is getting crazy right now. This has really gotten wild right now. Another, by the way, I want to touching on Bruce Wayne's thing. By the way, Bruce Wayne and Alfred have an incredible dynamic in this movie, and they did in BVS also. It's really good in this. Like I really like Jeremy Irons as Alfred. Obviously we're gonna get more of him. I think we're gonna get more of everything and things we've never seen next week because it's a 4-hour movie as opposed to a 2-hour movie. So it's common sense. We're gonna be getting a bunch of stuff. But I really hope there's a lot more Alfred because Alfred is fantastic. I like the fact that he helps because there's no Lucius Fox in this universe, so he's helping him build his weapons and things like that. He's more hands-on and more involved. I really dig that. And Alfred's constant thing that goes in this movie too about getting it like people dating, like when what is it when Cyborg is communicating with Diana in the Batcave and saying I got to go meet up with you and stuff like that. And then Alfred just says something quick like, oh, yeah, at least someone's having a date around here. And kind of just like walks away. I'm like, this is great. And he's still taking shots at Bruce constantly, like left and right.
He was making those comments in BVS. So it's it's a continuing theme, which is good. That's good to see that.
Yeah, and he also says another thing that's great to Bruce when they're talking after he tries to recruit Aquaman. And he says something around... what was it? Oh, yeah, like I want her... Talking about referencing Wonder Woman. Oh, yeah, no, I want her abilities. I want her on the team and stuff like that. He goes, yeah, no, that's what you want. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're
doing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, Alfred's great in this. And Bear's actually saying that best Alfred ever. I want to hear Jason's thoughts on this because I know Jason's a big Michael Caine fan as well.
I am a
What do you
big
think?
Michael Caine fan. I think it's just a very different Alfred.
Yes.
Like comparing the two, I think is unfair because they're very different takes on the character. I think my favorite part of the DCEU is salty, embittered, just throwing barbs at Bruce Alfred. I love this version of Alfred. But I mean, is he better than Michael Caine? It's like, well, they play two very different roles in the narrative and two very different roles with Batman. So I find it hard to compare them because I think they're equally fantastic in their own right.
I would agree with that.
Like you said, Lucius Fox doesn't exist, so
Right.
Alfred is the guy building all this shit, which makes him more of a badass in the DCEU, where Michael Caine is more, I can order this equipment for you, but I ain't putting this shit together.
Right.
Together. So I like Jeremy. I think if Jeremy Irons had a full 2 hours to do a movie, I think he'd be the best Alfred also.
Yeah,
He's very good. He's very, very good.
Yeah, no, those are really fair points. Another, by the way, another storyline that kind of only gets like 2 scenes in this is Martha Kent losing her house.
Martha?
I know I said that name.
Why did you say that name?
Yeah, why did you say that name? But why did you lose your house? It makes no sense in this movie. It's ridiculous. There's no payoff whatsoever in it. Why? Why does this happen? Why?
I can tell you exactly why it happened.
Please enlighten me.
The reason why it happened is because they could have that scene at the end where Bruce says that he bought the bank. That's the only fucking reason why they did it, was so that they could set up the whole, I bought the bank type of thing. That's all it was. It was for another, that wasn't one of the worst scenes in the thing, but you set a whole storyline in place just for that. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, I just don't understand what was the point of it. And they revisited a couple of times where I thought it was goofy. Tim, you got your hands together. What's going on? What do you got?
I fucking hate that scene, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. You know how I feel about the secret identity thing. After Man of Steel, everyone should know who Superman is. I mean, the Kryptonians went right to their house, to Kent's house, and built the ship out. And so everyone should know who Superman is. But by the good graces, no one really does except for Lex Luthor, because he's the smartest man in the universe, obviously. Fast forward to this movie. Here's this guy back from the dead walking around a farm with Bruce Wayne, not wearing his glasses. What is going on? What is going on in this universe?
Well, how about the fact you're right? You're absolutely right, because everyone should know who he is, because not only did everything happen in Smallville, right, and then all of a sudden Clark Kent is dead. So Smallville, the only person in Metropolis probably from Smallville is Clark Kent. Like, everybody should know. It should be all over everything. And meanwhile, now he's back. He's back, and I agree with you 1,000%. Everyone on the planet should know that. Yeah, he's Clark Kent.
So, like, all those movers moving all their furniture back into the house, going, "That's fucking Superman over there."
Yeah, and what's Bruce? And what's Bruce Wayne doing here? Like, why he's a long way from Gotham.
Yeah. Why is Bruce Wayne and that incredibly hot chick doing here? What are they doing in Smallville?
Wait, hold on a second. Wait, let me see what those guys look like on my phone here. No, wait, hold on. No, I don't think they look like each other. You know why? Because this right here, that's not Clark Kent. That's not Clark Kent. That's how they got away with it. I knew there was a reason why they did it.
The Jimmy Kimmel skit. The Jimmy Kimmel skit with them? Where he just covers Ben Affleck's face, goes, yep, I know who you are. That's exactly, that's how I picture the people of Smallville or the movie company going, you look really familiar. You're not wearing your glasses. I know who you are. But you, okay.
There's that one mover who gets it and is just like, wait a minute. That's obviously Superman. That must be Batman. And that's Wonder Woman. And no one believes him. Like, he's running around going, look, I think Bruce Wayne is Batman. Ah, you idiot. Go move some furniture. Like, that's happening.
Dude, I moved Superman's couch today. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah, I moved Superman's couch today. Of course he did.
So, does anyone else have anything like random about Justice League that we didn't cover? I know we took a different approach this week of how we were going to cover it, or even just this film in general.
Yeah.
Do you think we hit everything, or do you got something?
No, we hit all the shitty parts, I think.
So we've torn into it pretty good. I mean, and again, none of us think it's the worst piece of shit ever. We just acknowledge that there are many flaws, and we're praying to God that in 6 days they get fixed, and some.
I have
safe to say.
I have faith. I have a lot of faith that they're gonna get fixed.
Regardless of whatever happens, it cannot be worse than this. Honestly, let's just pretend it's not even that good. Like, it's okay. It's still better than this. I think that's a... Oh, boy.
I
Bro,
think it's
Wonder Woman 84 was better than this.
This is never going to go away.
I
This
know.
is never going to go away.
Now you're insane. But I think that at the very least, what we're going to get from the Snyder Cut is a consistent movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, good or bad, like it or not, it's going to be consistent in tone from start to finish, which this movie is not, and that's its biggest issue. So I think it's going to have to be better just because it's going to start as the same movie it ends as.
Yeah, it's going to be an actual singular movie and not two
Right.
movies smashed into one.
Right.
Yeah, and now that we know a lot of the backstory of what happened with Zack Snyder, whatever you think of his films or not, at least the guy is getting to do the damn film that he wanted to do.
Correct.
Good, bad, or indifferent. At least he's getting to finish it.
Mm-hmm.
Why he had to leave was a really fucked up thing. So I'm just glad that he's going to get to see his vision out, and we're guaranteed we're getting a better film. But just as seeing another filmmaker like getting to see what he wants to do and see it brought to life, I think is honestly refreshing. In my
For the
opinion.
actors too, though. I mean,
Yeah.
for the actors too, because they
They've all ripped it.
Right, they all signed on to play one part, and they ended up playing like the Jekyll and Hyde of the same part that they started the movie and where it finished off. So, I'm for them too. I think that it's for everybody, for the people who did work on the film, for the original people who worked on it, for Zack, for the actors that worked on it. It's a good thing that this is actually going to come out and people are able to judge the actual story and what they, originally had planned on, and not the mashup.
And I think all the crap behind the scenes between this movie and BVS and Suicide Squad is probably also a contributor to Ben Affleck getting really pissed off eventually and being like, "Listen,
I'm getting fed up." Yeah,
I was down. I was in here. I'm doing the movie. I'm writing my own script and getting ready to direct and star in a movie. And this is what I got to deal with. Who the hell knows what they're going to do to my movie?
Exactly.
Get out of here. I'm
Exactly.
going to go drink a bottle of bourbon or something and get the.
I have a question. Do you guys think in the Snyder Cut will Superman be brought back naturally or by the Justice League, like in this stupid movie? Like, will he come back like I don't know how you want to mystical? I don't know how you want to do. Because don't forget, at the end of Dawn of Justice, he's alive. They show you the things moving.
Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be different.
I definitely think it's going to be different. Yes,
it's gonna be different.
I absolutely think it's going to be different. I do too. I don't think that it's going to be anything. An electrical.
Supernatural. That's what I was.
Yeah,
looking for.
yeah, and they were, and that's another the scene where they resurrect him. The box needs an electrical charge. It does. The thing is fucking 4,000 years old. It needs an electrical charge. Like that's what it needs. Like, how the fuck do you know that? Like how
it had money or power in it.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I mean,
you know what you can compare that scene to? RoboCop 2.
Oh my god!
Do you know why you can compare it to RoboCop 2?
Why do you come on to the show and say these things?
Listen. We're gonna take the most powerful being in the universe and dip him in the same water where Doomsday was made. What could go wrong?
Just like exactly.
Pet
Cemetery. Yeah, Pet Cemetery.
Into a robot. What could possibly go wrong? It's the same exact thing.
No. Tim knows how much I hate RoboCop 2 also. It's also because I love RoboCop 1 so much. Tim and I have talked about RoboCop 2 probably way more than we should have over the years. And it really, really pisses me off to no end. Because everyone in OCP in that entire universe is just a complete moron. In that one movie, they're complete idiots. And it really irks the shit out of me. But that is a good point. Like it is, something that's just it is comparable. And Bear's jumping in too. It's going to be a black suit thing because in the comics, the black suit was used to like help him recuperate and everything and to bring him back. That's why I do think that that's going to be something completely different that we're going to get this time around.
Right.
Okay, but who put him in the black suit? He was buried in a tuxedo. Who, or a suit? Well, I don't. That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
where does this black suit come from?
He came from a wedding. They put him in a tuxedo. He came from a wedding. They put him right in a box.
Yeah, they showed his body in the suit.
Yeah, I know.
So that's what I'm saying. Where's this black suit going to come from, and who puts it on him, and where does
Well, the black suit. One of the cut scenes. One of the deleted scenes, and it's on the Justice League DVD, which I was stupid enough to buy, is the scene where the black suit is there. He goes to the. He goes to the. Is it the ship, or is it the Fortress of Solitude that he found that the suit is there?
I think it might be the Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah, but it's there.
There was a scene with Clark and Alfred, and once he's resurrected, he kind of stops and has a whole conversation with Alfred with the black suit on.
Yep.
So there is something.
So what I'm saying is, does he punch his way out of the coffin, get to the Fortress of Solitude, put the black suit on to help him recuperate, and then he's off?
That could be
it.
Tim,
I don't know.
Tim, you want to know something? If that's what it is, I'm good with that. I think it's better than what the hell we got so far.
Yeah,
right.
It is. I agree.
That could be that simple. It's fine. It's like, listen, I didn't die. I got really messed up. I need to recuperate. I got my damn suit now. And, he fights with the black suit. And the black suit looks really cool, in my opinion.
It does.
It'd be great if he was like, dude, all I needed was some sun. Why'd you put me in the ground?
You just lay me on the beach.
You should have took me to Miami. You should have took me to Miami, not fucking Smallville. I'd have been good to go.
That's great. All right. Well, actually, before we wrap this whole thing up, Jason, now that we've rewatched all the DCU, now we've completed our rewatch. Is your original list still intact, or did anything move around for you?
It is not still intact, and that was what I was like. I'm sure you guys noticed. I was looking down at my phone. I was trying to pull my list up because I had it on my phone. I actually have dropped Justice League down third to last.
Okay.
Yeah. So Man of Steel and Suicide Squad have now beaten out Justice League for me, because in rewatching Justice League for the third time again, I like parts of it. I think parts of it are fun, but they're like the first half of that movie I think is really good and enjoyable, and the last half of that movie is just bafflingly bad. And so in the rewatch, I realized that I enjoy Suicide Squad more, because let me be clear, I never said Suicide Squad was a good movie. I simply said I enjoyed it. And I think Man of Steel is like head and shoulders a better movie than Justice League. And I think the thing with Man of Steel is I just hadn't watched it in a while when I put this list together.
Okay. Well, that's the thing. I mean, I've seen these movies a bunch too, and Tony, I know, definitely has. But we're curious to know, Tim, we're going to get your list of DCU movies also, because I know you weren't on it and you could share it with us quick. But Tony, did your list change after rewatching these movies these last some odd weeks?
The top three changed for me.
Okay.
My top three originally were Wonder Woman, Man of Steel, and Aquaman, and I as we talked about when we watched all three of them, I love all three of those movies, but I really enjoyed rewatching Man of Steel and Aquaman, and not that I didn't Wonder Woman also, but I think I have to put those two ahead of Wonder Woman at this point. So I would probably move Man of Steel to 1, Aquaman to 2, and then Wonder Woman to 3. After that, Shazam, we talked about how much we enjoyed that. BVS, I did like. Birds of Prey is exactly where it should be at 6. Wonder Woman 84, just this piece of shit we just talked about. And then the steaming pile of shit, which was Suicide Squad, is at the end. So, that's it. I was just a little shuffling at the top. But, those three were always, going to be interchangeable. But after watching them now, after not watching them for a while, I'd probably put, just change Wonder Woman down to 3 and then move the other two up 1.
Okay, interesting. I'm going to tell you the truth. I think the only thing that may have changed for my list is still Shazam, Wonder Woman. What did I say? Was Man of Steel. Then what I have? Aquaman. Then BVS Ultimate Edition, of course, because theatrical does not exist. That's what we're hoping that we can wipe. I know there were comments earlier made by Zack Snyder saying, "Oh yeah, Josh Whedon's Justice League is canon." You're full of shit, dude. I don't care what you say. If your shit knocks it out of the park, no one's gonna care about Josh Whedon's thing like it never happened.
Right.
So then I would go. I got Ultimate BVS. Then Birds of Prey, Harley Quinn Birds of Prey is ahead of Wonder Woman 84 for me. And then the bottom three are Wonder Woman 84. Suicide Squad's still last. So right now for me, it's between Wonder Woman 84 and Justice League. And I don't know, man. They're both not particularly good. Justice League might get the advantage because it has a couple of cool Batman scenes and some good scenes that are worthy. And
just remember the mustache. Remember the mustache.
No, stop it. I have to go. I'm going to probably go to bed in like an hour. I can't have that happen to me, man. No, it's somewhere around there. So my rankings didn't really change. Tim, I mean, we'll say it ahead of time. Stop it. We know that you are not the biggest DCU fan, but what is your list, if you had to run them off quick, of your DCU movies?
All right, I'm looking at it right now. Shazam, easily number 1.
My man.
Number 2, I gotta be honest. After all these years, Man of Steel has probably leaped up to number 2 for me.
Okay.
Oh.
Aquaman number 3. Batman vs Superman. Now we get into the rough stuff.
Well, you watched the Ultimate Edition with us, right? When we did the audio Granny's PC of that. Remember that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes more sense. A lot more sense, actually. Shit. This is where it gets rough. Well, we know what movies last on my list. Well,
actually, Tim, didn't you like Birds of Prey? When we went to see it, I thought you were like, yeah, that was solid.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'd put Birds of Prey next, probably.
Okay.
Then Justice League, because, like you said, it did have its fun moments.
Yeah.
It had its Superman scene. It had its, the end battle was decent except for Russian people. What's left? Oh, regular one. I'm sorry. I'll flip flop regular one. I'm sorry. It'll be Wonder Woman, then Justice League.
Okay.
Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman 84. That would be my list.
I mean, I had a feeling I knew it was one and last right before you even spoke. I knew because I know you love Shazam also.
Yes, Shazam was great. I enjoyed that one a lot.
Yeah, I know you're a big fan of the movie Big with Tom Hanks too, and it's just like big superhero movie.
I look for redeemable qualities in certain things, and to me personally, 84 has not one single redeemable quality. At least Suicide Squad has the first half hour, which is very enjoyable. And like I said, Justice League has its little Superman moments and this and that. To me, 84 has not one single redeemable quality value of a scene ever in that movie, which I'll never watch again.
Yeah, I don't see myself ever watching it again, honestly. And I even though it's not last on my list, I don't see myself going back to it again because I think the rewatch factor is just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. And then who the hell knows what happens with it? And I have seen it twice, and I was like, I don't really want to go back again for this, so whatever. All right, so then that pretty much kind of wraps it up for this episode of Granny's Peach Tea. Tim, you got a big show coming up on Tuesday, my man.
It's a very big show. It's our 50th. So you guys are, and plus you guys are all welcome. You're all we're doing what we're calling the Not So Royal Rumble, which is we want everyone to come on for 5 minutes, say your piece, talk about your favorite wrestler. Tell us we suck if that's what you want to do. That's fine. After 5 minutes, you get kicked out, and next person comes on. Next person comes on. They're gonna talk 5 minutes. You're out. Next person comes on. That's what we want to do, and we're gonna have Stone Cold salutes. We already know there's going to be one person doing it. We're going to have a little bit of dancing. I'm not going to tell you who's doing that because I have to say that for the surprise. But yes, so you're all three of you are invited to come on the show, say what you want to say. You can come on and say Hulk Hogan's a god and sign off. I'm good with that. Whatever you guys want to do. That's our 50th show.
The greatest wrestler of all time, the genius Lenny Poffo. Am I allowed to expound on his genius?
Absolutely. Come on and do a poem. Do a poem about Lanny Poffo. It'll be anything. Anything goes. Anything goes for the Not So Royal Rumble on Tuesday.
That's awesome, man, and congratulations. Honestly, I know we're gonna probably do the video, but congratulations on your 50th show, man. I know we're still in our infant stages, We're trying to get to double digits right now, but you guys have been great.
You'll get there because you guys are doing a great job. You guys are doing a real great job. So
Thank you.
I'm glad Granny's became something instead of just our little audio thing in the back of the day.
Yes.
So yeah, but it was as fun as that was. Yeah, you guys are doing a good job. So you'll get there.
Thanks a lot, Tim. That means a lot. I appreciate it. Speaking of great things that you also want to check out, Monday nights you got A to Z show with Eric. That's Tim's co-host on Just Too Sweet. Then Tuesday on 316, you got Just Too Sweet show. Their 50th show, which is incredible that you're at that point. That's just mind blowing and awesome. And then you got Four Quarters is on after you guys on Tuesday as well.
Yep, Four Quarters took Tuesdays.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the doubleheader there. Wednesday you got Put It in the Books, and then we usually follow them, but we're taking next week off. Wow, there's a unicorn. We're taking next week off because someone's going to be in Georgia with Rick, and we might call into a Just Too Sweet show, by the way, and be talking to you about the Boss Man as we're in his home state. There's a good chance that could happen. I don't know what state of mind we'll be in at that point. Hopefully,
Even
one
better.
that's really whacked out.
The more inebriated, the better it will be for the show.
That's what I said, bro. That's what I said. I told him we should have got liquored up and talked about Justice League. That would have been fantastic.
Wait, that's what I've been doing. You guys aren't liquored up?
Oh, we've got some movies that I think Tim will be back for that we can get liquored up for. And I sent you guys those 70s Captain America things.
I'm excited.
Oh, God.
I'm excited
get
to
to
go
those.
really 70s, really old.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God.
So then on next Thursday, you got Millennium Meltdown with RD. It was a brand new show on Pop Culture Pros where RD goes ahead and he does some nostalgia where he talks about the 90s and 2000s pop culture. So that's pretty awesome on its own. And I know the Streamer Wars show, though, is only going to be one. I think they said the last Thursday of every month. We also invited them. Dave's going to get back to us, but we invited them to discuss an episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. So we might have a 6-person fiasco for one of those episodes, and it's going to be pretty bonkers. So hopefully we can get that going too. And then you got Jada and Kyle. They're breaking down movies every single week, doing a great job on it. They have outstanding guests on there. So, that's another show to look out for. And then Tim and I, if you're a Yankees fan, you can check out Empire 161. We'll be back in about, 2 or 3 weeks, right before opening day. We'll be talking about the New York Yankees and getting everyone ready for that. So, thanks to everyone. Tim, thanks for popping on and joining
Anytime.
us. It's pretty exciting to have you with us. Tony, Jason, any farewells?
No, I'm going to miss you guys this week. And, we got a lot of stuff to talk about next week, so I'm looking forward to it. And everybody enjoy Justice League, and we'll be back to talk about so much next week.
That's right. We got the Snyder cut of Granny's Peach Tea coming on our next one, so I'm excited.
Yeah, our next episode. So we'll be back on Wednesday, March 24th, 8:30 sharp, right after Put It in the Books. And yeah, we got an insane show. We're gonna have 2 weeks of CW verse to talk about, so we're gonna have to get through that.
2 weeks of Batwoman.
Yes, 2 weeks of Batwoman, all for Jason. He can't wait. He's gonna be hyped up for it. He might be looking up for that show. Who the hell knows? We're gonna have the premiere to talk about for Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then we're gonna have Zack Snyder's Justice League, which this whole countdown has been leading up to. All right, so tune in for that, and thanks for the support, and we'll see you guys next time, man. Take care.